open sleigh. Over them fields we go, laughing all the way. The 10 bobtails ring, making experience bright. What fun it is to ride, sing the sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle, jingle, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in big Chevrolet. Jingle bells, jingle, jingle, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in one-horse open sleigh.
Sirius XM Sports presents At the Races with Steve Byk. Horse racing, handicapping, interviews. This is At the Races with Steve Byk.
From Remington Park. A very good Friday, race fans. Sirius 162. XM. Hold on. I don't know what could happen from noon yesterday to 9 o'clock now. that this sounds in my headset so different. I don't get it. Let me there we go. Let's try that. All right, better. Online, SiriusXM Online, $9.99, and at our website, stevebyk.com. The last Twin Spires weekend preview of 2025. And I said all week that it's a really good weekend, and I just amazed, actually, at how good the racing continues to be as we arc toward the end of the year. And New York started taking entries for the post-Christmas action, including the 26th. They're going to take entries today at Santa Anita for a week from today. So that's going to be fun. Look forward to that overnight and those PPs with really one of the great cards every year. Malibu, La Brea, the whole shebang. And there's, lots of other, quite a bit actually, of other action to look forward to. Oaklawn Weekend 2. We're going to talk to Matt Dinnerman as we start to get serious about the Oaklawn season. Going to try the $3 get out pick 3 again and the $5 double. It's actually a tricky sequence today. I'm curious what Matt's got a good opinion. And we're gonna have Matt. We're gonna continue to check in with Nancy and others for Oaklawn. Let me give you the agenda. We're going to talk I've got a little business to talk first and foremost. Pat McKenna is going to join us from NYRA first, and we will detail yesterday's calendar announcement, 26th for the 26th season, which is going to be one last Belmont Stakes Racing Festival at Saratoga, which of course was anticipated and known. And what was uncertain was how much of the downstate July action would kick off upstate. And we got that answer as well. 46 days of racing at Saratoga this year, and that'll be the last of the heavy date agenda upstate. Belmont, right now, it looks like Belmont will open September 18th. We'll let Pat dot the I's and cross the T's. And we've got what looks to be a last day of racing set at Aqueduct as well. That looks like it's chiseled now in stone. June 28th. It's going to be. I know there's people who are going to be, oh, good, it's gone. The only people that'll cheer that are people who have really never been, because Aqueduct had a special and unique distinction in New York racing, being in the city per se, and being a city racetrack, and that was its distinction, and so had a certain special atmosphere. But let's be honest, the Belmont, the new Belmont is exciting, and as it takes shape, and now that it's, literally, you not that far off. The way the calendar flows, if you're involved in racing, the days fly by. So it will not be long now. So Pat's going to check in. We'll talk to Nick. Nick's got an unusually quiet week for Nick Tamero, although, of course, there was. I do have the press release. I hadn't thought about it, but I will certainly give Nick one more mazel on the new position, the full-time position at Sam Houston. In fact, I put up the show listing last night, and we have to refer to him now as SHRPs, Sam Houston Race Parks, Nick Tamero, but also Twin Spires as well. So we'll talk to Nick. I think he looked at Fairgrounds. Callie will check in. They got those Christmas Tide Stakes, the 4 stakes at Laurel tomorrow. Marcus Hirsch. I knew the way to motivate Marcus, because we haven't talked to Marcus since October. I knew the way to motivate him was with Santa Super Saturday. which the same way that I refuse at Preakness time to say new shooters, Marcus refuses to say Santa Super Saturday. We'll check in with Scully, of course. We'll get Scully's plays. I'm sure we'll get another kick at the can at the Turfway action. Matt Dinnerman, as mentioned, we'll talk to Matt in the second half, start the second half of the show, and or in that range, somewhere between 10:30 and 11. I'm going to move Craig Dato up a little bit. Instead of 11:30, probably about 11:15 for Sports Injury Central. Dave Hill last night. Right now, I wouldn't go against any of our pigskin pros, but last night I think Dave got the middle, right? Got his early bet cashed, and then his late with. So he managed. That was something. Honest, I fell asleep. I fell asleep sometime in the fourth quarter. When I woke up, just so happens I looked, I saw what happened, and then NFL Network had the replay, like a expedited replay. So I was able to see actually some of the wackiness. That was something. So. Craig Dato, Mike Welsh. We got a big card at Gulfstream, as mentioned, and we'll get Mike's opinions going in to the first graded stake of the winter, graded stake weekend. Rich Eng will round out the Twin Spires weekend preview, and we'll get a little of everything from Rich. We it's such a weird thing with the Turfway, the rescheduled Turfway card. And since we talked to Tony Kalo last week, we talked to KK, and so, we don't have to really revisit too much of that. I'm sure James will reiterate his picks, but it did occur to me to reach out to Kevin Kirstein And the Kirsteins are winging their way to the 215. They're heading home to the Philadelphia. They're in the car. They're listening. KK subjecting the family to yesterday's replay and now today's live. And so a unique shout out opportunity to the Kirsteins. And I really want to hear, squealing like piglets when we say good morning to Josie and Keegan in the car. They're in the back seat and they're in their car seats. And of course, Allison keeping them happy, entertained, and fed. So Kevin, Allison, Josie, and Keegan, safe travels the rest of the way to the Fa, and Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah to the Kirsteins. I can't wait to hear if they squealed. Josie Kirstein and Keegan Kirstein. Little KK. There's big KK. Now hadn't thought about that. There's little KK. Scully's asking me what time, and I'm going to tell him 10:20-ish. All right. You listening, James? 10:20. There you go. A couple of news pieces. Obviously, the Kevin sent me a picture. That's great. That's great. Josie's eyes lit up when she heard her name. The news, well, obviously the big, to me, one of the biggest news pieces was the official dates for NYRA and locking things down on that front. I didn't mention it the other day, but the official word came. Tamara was DQ'd from that Chillingworth win, and a methocarbamol overage, Robaxin, and it's an anti-inflammatory, and Mandela, this just shows. I mean, it no matter how careful you are, no matter what level of accomplishment you've got as a horseman, the timing, the withdrawal, the elements that that go into getting horses prepared for a race, and Mandela said that's on us. That's that's a miscue. So she and who was it that who did we talk to that finished second and gets elevated out of that? But anyway, you could you'd have to devote one day of the week to to these kinds of medication. And I know that everybody. I mean, we fought this battle for 2 decades. That we used to have the RMTC conversations where we had all the top vets and everybody try to explain the difference between taking an edge and putting something in the system of a horse that shouldn't be there versus the standard treatment profiles. And it doesn't seem to matter, no matter how many times you try to explain, an anti-inflammatory and, versus something with a cane at the end of its name. So, I think I mentioned the other day, I got somebody objected to a guest choice this week. And I said, well, maybe I guess I can't have Richard Mandela either now, right? Is that so? It's very difficult to discern for those that that think that everybody that that half of the industry is taking an edge. These are, as has been explained constantly, these are athletes, the horses, and they get strains, they get irritations, they get inflamed muscles and joints and so forth, and the therapeutic medications being applied to an athlete. So I find it really, really difficult to try to constantly provide a dividing line. Everybody's going to make their own determination, I guess. So that's all I got. There's the story out of speaking of the administration of rules, Sixth Circuit. You probably saw yesterday they reaffirmed the constitutionality and from their perspective of HISA. So now we got to wait out the next phase and the fifth, and see if see what this, if and when the Supreme Court's going to take this up. But there was no surprise that the sixth was going to reaffirm from their perspective the constitutionality of HISA. So we'll revisit that after the start of the year. All right. Pat McKenna is going to join us, and as we wait for Pat, let me. I got a couple of emails. People that missed last week. Hammer is flying back from the Graded State Committee meeting, and we should have, I guess, maybe even as soon as this afternoon, potentially, maybe the press release on the Graded State Committee. I think it drops. I think it does drop today. Typically, and usually right about noon on after they had their meeting. So, but Hammer's flying this morning, so we will talk to him Monday. Monday's the last show of the year, and then we'll take off until after New Year's. Come back on January 5th. But as we wait for Pat, the calendar, and I'll reiterate this a few times between now and Monday. The usual address, Santa Anita Calendar at yahoo.com. Send Hammer a note with your 3 favorite sitcoms of all time. Hammer settled on that. And don't forget your name and address and anything else you want to say to Hammer and me. All right. Santa Anita Calendar at yahoo.com for this year's gorgeous. And I told you, Zach from the Santa Anita Racing Office gave me 3 to bring home. So I've already seen it. I got the advance, and we're going to get an advance from Pat McKenna. In fact, Pat, I'll ask you the calendar question. Your 3 favorite sitcoms of all time.
Three favorite sitcoms of all time?
Yeah.
Does Seinfeld count?
It does, and it's funny you say that because Hammer says the early returns, the early votes. He said Seinfeld is way out in front, which is interesting.
I couldn't come up with another 2, to be honest with you, Steve.
How funny is that? That's, I mean, even as a
what
kid.
What are some other also rans here?
Well, Mary Tyler Moore. The Mary Tyler Moore has got to be.
My friend.
What, boy, thank you. That's the real. Thank you, thank you. So I suppose Dick Van Dyke and
yeah.
Make room for. How about Make Room for Daddy?
No, certainly not.
and the show that it begot, That Girl with Marlo Thomas.
No,
What about Bewitched?
no. I mean, I feel like I maybe have seen a few episodes when I
Unbelievable.
was
I
a
Dream of
kid.
Jeannie.
You know, on
I
the
Dream
old
of Jeannie.
CBS TNT.
Nick at Night. Yeah. I have
Nick at
not
Night was in its
officially.
waning days when I was a Nicola. You know,
How old are you?
I am 44.
Wow. Wow. All right. I don't know. I'm 66. I was really. I mean, I was pretty much raised on the black and white sitcoms, right? I mean, they're going. Now that I think about it, I mean, some of those ones I just mentioned. I can't wait for Hammer to. He's going to tally up the votes, and I'll be very interested. There'll be some. I hope there's some obscurities. I mean, Mr. Ed's got to get a few votes,
Yeah.
I would think, right? And Gomer Pyle.
I was about saying I need a galley copy looking.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Yeah, it always is. It's you got the Benoit photography team, and are we in New York? Do we have a New York calendar this year?
We will. Yeah, a little bit of a delay because of the later dates announcements and all the stuff that was going on there. But
okay.
we will have a calendar. We do not benefit from those beautiful vistas at Santa Anita all the time, especially December, January, February, and maybe into March. But yeah, I got to look at it the other day. Looks great. Hopefully, early part of January.
Well, and I'll make one more plug too. I mean, even though there's no racing until the 26th, I was delighted when I was in town when I came to see Landauer run. In fact, he enters today for the 28th. There's today's double entries. I went in to see Chelsea, and Adam was on with me. He's got all those photographs that he before he moves everything back to Belmont, he's trying to get rid of these photos. He's got these accordion files at Aqueduct, and anybody that comes to Aqueduct, go downstairs. And Chelsea told me she's had a ton of people that heard me talk about it and then heard Adam on the show, and he will give you for $1 a piece. So you can give him $20 so you can take as many as you want, basically. I mean, he doesn't want to throw them out, and he knows people will really enjoy them. And it's a total grab bag, like when people buy those wax packs of baseball cards,
sure.
Trying to find a Mickey Mantle.
Love it. I did not know that, and I will be stopping by Adam's office at Aqueduct.
And you can wish Chelsea a happy birthday. It was her birthday, I think, Tuesday. Maybe.
You are chock full of Naira news, my friend.
Oh, listen, I'm like a font. I'm like a touchstone. I'm the Midnight Date Man. I'm the commandant. Goodfellas getting an appearance today on the show. As you can tell, Pat, I'm full of mirth here today, and because I now
can. This is the first time I've been able to join you since before Saratoga. I mean, the number of times I walked by the desk when you were out there in the flesh outside of the racing office, and for one reason or another was not able to stop. I don't think I came on the show at all.
No, you waved me off. Yeah, every time you gave me you're giving me the high hat.
Oh, like riding a wave up there at Saratoga. You got to get on board and hope it doesn't crash.
Exactly. Get on it early and often, for sure.
Yes, as is the case with what we'll be discussing here right now.
Well, and we all knew that there was going to be one last Belmont Stakes Racing Festival. And the big question was, when the July racing would commence. So lay out the decision making and how the calendar is going to, for those that haven't seen the details.
Sure, and I would imagine most of your listeners are aware, but I'll sort of start at the beginning, just for the benefit of everyone. This is this was always going to be a 3-year period of temporary adjustments to the Saratoga schedule while the construction at Belmont continued. So in year 1, that meant the inaugural Belmont Stakes Racing Festival up at Saratoga, and then a traditional 40-day summer meet. Last year, obviously, we brought up the July 4th Festival for the first time, which was great. And that was a 4-day July 4th Festival, followed by a 40-day summer meet. This year was always the most challenging of those 3 because of the September 7th Labor Day. So Labor Day is late as you can possibly have it.
Right.
And you have a Saratoga starting basically as early as it ever has. So you have the 5-day Belmont Festival, June 3rd through the 7th, Belmont Stakes, Saturday, June 6th, followed by a summer meet this year, which will begin on Friday, July 3rd. The July 4th Festival is 3 days, July 3rd through the 5th. And then instead of taking a break, which would have obviously created some issues, we added basically a weekend following the July 3rd Festival. That's a 4-day weekend, because ordinarily, remember, on a year where you have a late Labor Day, I think if I'm reading this correctly, we would have started the summer meet on July 16th. So really to bridge that gap, you have a 4-day week, July 9th through the 12th, and then 2 more 4-day weeks in the middle of July, and then beginning July 29th, you're back to the traditional 5-day race week, followed by a 6-day race week, closing it all out on Labor Day. So in total, it's 51 days up at Saratoga, which compares with 49 days last year. So more Saratoga than ever before. But at the same time, and we were clear in the various announcements yesterday that we are returning to the 40-day schedule in 2027. So one more year of a different looking Saratoga with more race days than we've ever had up there. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel, or a pot of gold at the end of the tunnel, with Belmont reopening in September of 2026. At long last, the Belmont Stakes will return to its Long Island home in 2027, as well as the July 4th Racing Festival back to Belmont. So it should be a terrific summer at Saratoga. It feels like we just closed the gates yesterday. We're absolutely looking forward to all that Saratoga entails, beginning with the Belmont Stakes in June, continuing on through a 46-day summer meet. So there you have it.
Excellent. And it was understood that there was, the calendar was providing a kind of a unique challenge.
Yep.
The way, and there's some other aspects of that too, Pat, including, like, for instance, Kentucky Downs having to run their opening weekend is backed up and overlays Travers weekend, which is wild.
That's right.
So I mean, there's it's a weird year.
Yeah. And which is to say, Belmont looks phenomenal. The racetracks look amazing. The Tapeta course is basically complete. There's a whole lot of construction in and around that Tapeta track, which prevents us from opening it up for training at the present time, but that will be coming soon. As you probably know, Glenn had those turf courses down, late summer, early fall. So those will have more than a year to take root and grow. Main track looks great, and the facility is really coming along. I mean, the progress has been amazing to witness once you see it in person, especially. So exciting stuff, and obviously pleased to be able to clarify that 2026 schedule. At the same time, for the first time, at least in my experience, we've reached a 2-year agreement with both the Horsemen and the New York Thoroughbred breeders, so that we have, what we call the foundation of a 2027 schedule, meaning 203 race days. The exact format and calendar of those race days will be determined. But the goal here is to provide continuity and stability for horsemen racing participants in 2026 and significantly expand those opportunities in 2027 with the benefit of having a full at Belmont Park for the first time. Obviously in 2027, that will mean we will have consolidated racing to 2 venues, Belmont Park, Saratoga Racecourse. So it's a forward-looking plan. It's a strategic plan that we've been focused on for the better part of the last 6 to 8 months. This is the first time really in memory that we're going through this kind of a transition, not only constructing a new Belmont Park, but consolidating racing from 3 venues to 2, while obviously being laser focused on what we can deliver to maximize the racing product, to provide the most number of opportunities for trainers, owners, and breeders here in New York. And we believe that we've done that. We're also looking forward to a Belmont Park that we believe will help to revitalize year-round racing, winter racing specifically. There's very few examples of a racing jurisdiction or a racetrack utilizing an all-weather Tapeta surface that did not see field size increase. So, you're not only talking about synthetic horses potentially from Woodbine and other locations, but also those, we're thinking especially of those New York bred turf horses that may decide to stick around for the winter. So obviously there's, it's a calculated risk, but it's an investment directly in winter racing. So that also reflects the increased number of race days in 2027 and our confidence that it's an overall product that will see improvements.
Pat McKenna with us from NYRA after yesterday's detailing of the 26 calendar schedule, and that was a noteworthy tidbit about the 2-year agreement with the Horsemen, so that clears the decks. And there was one other.
A couple of other noteworthy items.
Yeah.
Final day at Aqueduct Racetrack.
Yes.
Will be Sunday, June 28th, and the first day, opening day of the new Belmont Park after this more than 3-year redevelopment project, tentatively scheduled for Friday, September 18th.
Which leaves for a nice so 7 we get done at Labor Day, so a weekend, the standard kind of a standard week and a half plus for everybody to reset. There was one other piece in there that I just glanced at Dave Grenning's piece. I would no Dave today. He's down actually for he's got a little window of time off, but he banged out this news yesterday. The one decision I thought was interesting, the potential for dirt racing in December, is some uncertainty as to whether dirt might continue on in the condition books, Pat, that at the start of the winter season in December. I guess that's a decision that Keith and company
definitely
will make.
To be determined. Much is weather dependent.
Right.
We'll have clarity on that, as we move forward into the late winter and spring. So, which is sort of what we've always said. Whether we're transitioning to the Tapeta in December or January, once you make that transition, I think it's the important point here. You're not going back, so you're not juggling two surfaces. Once you do that, everything we've seen, studied, and analyzed leads us to believe that it does need to be a clean transition.
Now it's getting exciting, and the topping off of the building was one thing, but now every picture with the frame completely, in place, you can really sense. You can sort of envision now what it's going to be, and there's so many things to fill in as we get toward the summer, including how the backyard is going to take shape, and there had been all that concern about when UBS went in, and when it's all said and done, there's going to be even a bigger footprint of the backyard when we get back to Belmont now.
Yeah, we think it'll be the best facility in racing, and there's certainly, I think what part of what makes Saratoga so successful is that there is something for everyone. There's an option at every price point. There's an atmosphere, whether it's the backyard, clubhouse box, the addition of the 1863 club, the new area down at the top of the stretch, and we're bringing that mentality to Belmont. The paddock, I think, is probably something that hasn't gotten quite the attention it will once the facility is open. And you're right, there's so many elements that will be new and surprising that you may not hear every single. Once it's open, I think people will really appreciate the size and scope of the paddock, the sight lines that. We all remember Belmont Stakes days when fans are in and around that walking ring from 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning on, and I mean the capacity of the new paddock significantly hugher. The ability for fans to be up close with those horses, which is hugely important. And again, another reason why Saratoga historically has been so successful. It is about the horse and being able to appreciate horses and jockeys and the entire process 10 or 11 times a day, up close and personal. So, yes, and then and you'll see this reflected in and arenas in every sport. People no longer want to sit in the seat for 3 or 4 hours, and racing, it can be much longer than that. So to have a backyard that's accessible, visually interesting, provides space for families and friends to gather and celebrate important milestones and moments. And once again, I'll come back to Saratoga. You and I know, the numbers of the groups of people that have been doing that, congregating in their favorite spot, wherever that's, is why yoga endures and continues to grow in popularity. And we feel like there is a huge opportunity at Belmont to bring some of that downstate. Obviously, it's a very different market, a very different piece of property than Saratoga. Fundamentally and philosophically, you're talking about providing space for people to gather with friends and families, colleagues, work events, and that's what over time that the new Belmont.
Well, looking forward to it. We should hope that when September rolls around, won't be fully ready either, right? The top, there'll be how much do you anticipate, Pat? That
what I know is that it is going to be a celebration and a big party come opening weekend, downstate. Sure, they're ongoing work on of the building itself, but we hope to be able to provide an experience that where you don't feel like you're walking into a construction site in any way, shape, or form. You feel like you're walking into a celebration of Belmont Park, of racing in New York, ushering in a brand new era for the sport that we love. So it's a really exciting period. We've been working on this Belmont project for 7 or 8 years. In reality, it took an enormous effort,
Easily.
obviously, in Albany. A lengthy and an intensive campaign to persuade New York State that this was a critical investment, that it was an economic development opportunity in Nassau County that will pay dividends for decades to come. And that's exactly what we're going to deliver. So we're thrilled. It's amazing that it's nearly upon us. And we will be sad to see Aqueduct go. Aqueduct is New York City's track. It's played an incredibly important role in New York racing for 100 years. And you think about some of the historic moments that have taken place at Aqueduct, the day-to-day energy and loyalty of the core Aqueduct fan. I mean, I see people there who are there every single day, and we want to acknowledge that throughout the next 6 months leading into an appropriate celebration on the weekend of June 25th, and in the days and weeks leading up to that. Aqueduct is New York City's track, and it will be sad to not have a track in the 5 boroughs. But to have Belmont Park as the year-round home for NYRA, as the year-round home for racing downstate, is to the future, and the way that we can ensure that the sport remains successful, vital, and an engine for the New York State economy, which is, since we're a franchise of New York State. So and there's Aqueduct often gets a rap, but it is unique. It is played, as I said, a really important role, and especially these last, call it 3 to 5 years, renovations to the racing infrastructure with the renovation of Belmont in mind. And we'll be the fans for their support and their patronage of Belmont over the years, and a lot over the next, as I said, months.
Well, and of course, the return of the Breeders' Cup to New York in 27. What'll be the first Belmont Stakes at the new building in 27, and there's so much to look forward to. Pat, one final, the train siding, the regular full-time station. That
yep.
How far are we on that?
Well, there is a full-time train station that was built
across the right.
UBS was so that's been there. That's a fully functioning commuter rail stop on the North Lot. So it's a little bit of a walk, but yeah, it's a big part of the success of UBS Arena. And yeah, I mean that's been in place and will continue to be in place, and we'll obviously utilize that and leverage that and encourage mass transit as we get over to the new Belmont, especially for the big days.
Excellent. Yeah, I haven't actually seen it because I haven't really not been over. I think just one time, and I was on the backside, but I haven't really seen the kind of been going Aqueduct only. So I'm anxious to get over and see the latest because
it'll be even more striking if you have not been there.
Well, of course, backside work continues too, dorms and barn renovations and new barns. So there's a lot, so much to look forward to, Pat. I know some people were anxious to hear this scheduling. I've gotten some inquiries, so thanks for that. And listen, Merry Christmas, Happy, healthy New Year. I think there's a chance we'll come down on the 28th for one last 2019 or 2025 visit because I think we're running. So I might see you before the New Year.
Sounds good, Steve. Happy holidays, Happy New Year to you and all your listeners. And thank you for doing what you do every day.
Well, it's my pleasure. I love it. Pat McKenna, everybody. PC McKenna on your Twitter, and the 2026 season is set for the transition to Belmont and Saratoga only. Thanks, Pat.
Thank you, Steve.
Kelly Francois is standing by. There's another big race weekend at Laurel. It doesn't end. And they called, I don't know when they came up with the Christmas Tide moniker, but it's kind of cute. And we got 4 stakes as we arc toward the end of the year. Callie, good morning.
Morning, Steve. Technically, I'm sitting, not standing by, but nice info from Pat and sharing the sentiments on, this time of year. Really thankful that, for everything that you do, Steve. But yeah, Christmas Tide Stakes. I love the phrase. I don't know when they came up with it. I can get back to you on that.
Well, you have to make those pies for Thanksgiving. Are you making Kringles for?
Oh my gosh,
that could be the next. That could be the. By the way, you're off the hook. Did you hear earlier this week?
No,
I forgot to tell you that. Well, Dottie and Gordo.
I love being off the hook. Tell me.
Dottie and Gordo sheriffs showed up the other morning. She heard me haranguing you to get me an authentic Wisconsin Kringle, and she took care of it because she knew that Aldi features a real Kringle, and
that's right, they do
every Christmas. And so she got me one, and she delivered one at Santa Anita on Tuesday.
Oh my God! Well, thank you to her. She's my Christmas angel officially.
It's so funny
because I don't know how I was going to get you one from Wisconsin, just intact, like fully intact still. So
well. This was
Christmas miracles do really happen. Wow.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Great.
Well, and then I mailed it home actually to Tina because
I had
fabulous. I had gone to the Rose Bowl. I'd gone to the Rose Bowl flea market. I got her something really cool and some things for
as you should.
The grandkids. Yeah, and one thing for Jenna and Spencer, and rather than load up my suitcase for the trip home Sunday, I boxed it up, and there was room to slide the Kringle in. So I sent it to
wow.
Tina. And she said to me,
is it home yet? What did she say?
It got there yesterday, and she said, "What is this?" I said, "It's a Kringle," and she was like, "What is it?" I said, I said, "You know what?" I said, "I never. That was really the first time I'd seen one, in my hands. It's sort of a king cake. It's basically a king cake, except it's it's Wisconsin instead of Louisiana, and this one was raspberry.
Sure. Yes, that's the only way. That's the only flavor to go.
Raspberry
only flavor to go.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
I'm gonna have to trust. I'm gonna have to trust you on what a king cake is because I only know what a Kringle is. So sure. Glad it survived the trip though.
Well, it was nice and thin. It slid right in the box. Too funny.
Hilarious.
Are you going home for Christmas? A lot of times you do.
For the actual Christmas Day, no, actually I'm not. So we just because the whole family is obviously busy during that time. Mitch and Lexi, they're actually going down to Chicago, and so we're just waiting until the next week till we can all get together, which really is kind of the better option for me. I can't wait to see how the dynamic is for this year because by the time I finally get up there, I'm the only one bringing the Christmas beer because everybody else is exhausted. So I'm excited for how it's going to be going for this year. So no, I'm going to be sticking around the DMV this year. So yeah.
we do every year. We do we do give people the last minute gift ideas. Give a plug for the jewelry store.
Yeah, I don't, I shoot. So definitely, if you just feel free to, go to online feldsteins.com. I feel like I don't know the Green Bay store number off of my head. And in fact, I think I forgot the Marinette one too. I think it's 715-735-6913 for the Marinette store. And I think our last FedEx date for shipping to get it to anybody nationwide by Christmas would probably be Monday, if I could gather anything. But we're open every day, obviously, until Christmas. And yeah, get your extra Christmas shine and sparkle from Feldstein's up in Marinette. So yeah, okay, plug. There's the plug, Steve. Lots going on. So yeah, no, it'll be good I'm really excited for everybody to actually have energy when I'm back in town. So that'll be fun.
Well, and you had that trip to the Pacific Northwest too, right? The big sky country, Montana, or you guys were together?
Yeah. We had, that was, So that was a good time too. But yeah, it's going to be
nice.
Normally, it's so funny for Christmas because normally everybody is just, by the time we hit Christmas Eve dinner, everybody is absolutely exhausted. So everybody just wants to go to bed. And this year, everybody actually, other than Mitch, actually will just get to go to bed, which is probably on the top of everybody's Christmas list from my family. So yeah, kind of happy for them actually.
Well, I say this every year at this juncture. Callie Francois you literally have a friend in the diamond business, as the saying goes, particularly in New York, in the jewelry district. But Feldsteins.com, and the stores are in Green Bay and Marinette, Wisconsin, and just go to Feldsteins.com and
honestly, it might, and I would, if I were to say anything, it would be better if you called and somebody could you would be better on the phone. If I'm going to suggest anything, get on the phone and get on with somebody and say, hey, looking for this. They will have something. They know their inventory so well with what they have in the store right in front of you. It's just better to get on the phone, talk to somebody, and then they can probably do a text message, picture back and forth. You approve of it, it gets sent out probably within a couple of hours after that.
There it is.
That's what my suggestion would be, to be honest.
Good job. Well, and there's also online chat too. So there's
but I'm gonna say this. I know how busy it will be, but I'm still gonna give it a go of try on the phone.
There we go. Feldsteins.com. Yeah. Callie, this steak sequence, we've got the Bender, we've got the Bob Manfuso, the Carousel, and the Politely. And to tell you what, nice sequence.
It's pretty good. Where do you want to start?
Start with we got to pick 4 that you can dive into actually, and I think the Bender is the Bender outside the pick 4. I think it is. Yeah, the Bender starts the pick 5, and the Carousel starts the pick 4. Start with the Bender.
Let's go ahead. Sorry, lost a little bit here. I thought the Bender was the last one here.
No, Manfuso's the last.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, wait. Let me get back to my brain here. Okay, Quince. So we've got the Ned Allard Quince group coming off the layoff, and that's the biggest question here. But we have seen this horse come well enough off of a layoff. You take a look at the win in the Jennings. He was able to do it over the mile. The 7 furlongs should be no problem. The horse is in, obviously, what you can see off the works. Dan had a great conversation with Ned about the horse. Slam Notion. So I go 1, 4, 5, 2 in here. But the races are essentially going to be running through the 1 and the 4 here. My arguments for Blue Kingdom, essentially, for Jamie Ness Rodriguez, I mean, who's it to argue? That's where this horse, technically, if he wanted to, he's got that outside speed. And when you're talking about the 7 furlong distance, these shoot races, that's where the speed, that opening quarter, that opening eighth of the placement of who's going to be on the lead, it's wide open for interpretation on shoot races going the 1 turn mile and the 7 furlongs on the dirt here. So I will say that number 5 shows consistently just a touch more gate speed, but it's a tough call. Quince Brew is going to be able to take any kind of heat that's thrown at him.
Yeah, I mean, he's way the horse to beat. Blue Kingdom, there's nothing wrong with Blue Kingdom. And
there's nothing wrong with him. It's just a matter of, I think Quince Brew is just better.
Yeah, the one thing, and it's just a field of 6. If Blue Kingdom and some of this also Slam Notion's got to be included by Robbie Bales, there are 3, potentially 3 horses. Even Showstopper Copper has got some speed.
Those are your 3 speed horses. I mean, by no way is Bales going to have Toledo gun for it here in this race. He's going to have him sit right behind and just say, pick them apart, pick them off as you go.
I will note that Bold Diversion is a 1-run closer, and
that was a heck of a run in the city of Laurel.
And it come off that allowance win, before that. And what's interesting is that 7/8 seems to have been, maybe just a little out of, might be a little bit out of his range, but there's pace in here. That horse is going to come running and is going to pick off some late. This is for a 6-pack. This is a nice group of horses in the Bender. The carousel, we're going to go 1 mile and 1/8. The fillies and mares, and you got kind of a diverse group in here.
Yeah, super. You take whatever handicapping angle that you like. There's going to be a horse that provides that, a filly or mare that provides that in this field here. So I go 4, 1, 11, 9. Complexity Jane, Sultry Lass, Intrepid Mo, and Loot Warm. Automatically, when I see a Gary Capilano horse in here, I want to put it on top, especially after winning going 2 turns in that allowance last time out. So she's going to be hard to go against. I will not be surprised if she, just kind of scans this field in its entirety. But with the conversation that I had with Brittany after Complexity Jane, especially, they are kind of hinging on this distance a little bit for what this filly is looking for. So I just kind of go off of what Brittany's saying. But Intrepid Mo, for the morning line, 6-1, if that sticks around at all, absolutely throw down some money on that one, because she's going to be running. And Sultry Less, Tom and Moss, you got to include here, because it was considered for the Willa on the move. It's interesting that they're taking a stab going this longer distance here.
Yeah, I thought.
How different do you see it?
I don't see it that different. I was just looking at Skies Falling and trying to. It does have a win. Does have a win at the mile in the 8th last time, right at Charlestown. Of course, it's a different.
Skies,
it's a different scenario.
Jeff's horse. Yeah, here's the thing. I love Jeff's horses for sprints. I need to get way more convinced when you're going. You're going from 3 turns at least at Charlestown to it's just a bit. The setup is so different. I always take a wait and see approach, but you do have Jeff, who's 13 for 41, 31% off of third off of the layoff. I don't disagree. I did have to look twice at that horse, and I just said, I just think this field is going to be a bit tough for what this one is up against, but stranger things have happened.
I respect Runco tremendously.
Of course, yeah.
Does a great job. That from a Fig standpoint, she's a fit. She fits.
Absolutely. It was hard for me not to have this one on my picks, for sure.
By the way, before I turn the page to the Politely, Intrepid Mo, Gary Capuano, the outwork filly, and she. I think is this the first time she's been facing elders. How about the impression Hazelwood made in New York?
I mean, are we surprised? I'm not surprised. Listen, I'm going to be hard on. I'm going to be hard on the kid, but it's zero surprise.
No, he had everybody talking.
I'm sure he did.
Big
yeah.
Time. the politely, we got fillies and mares going 3/4, and
And the race does kind of go through Take the Money, Honey, technically, but there were a lot of talented fillies in here. And so I go with Grayson's Girl at 5-1 for Brittany Russell. I think the connections think highly of this one, just from the vibe I got from Brittany. And it was funny because she's confirmed herself kind of as a closing sprinter. So they're going to keep around this distance. These are her type of races. I go 3-5 at 2-6 here. So I'm still on the fence about flipping between, the 3-horse and the 5-horse, but you got to include Onyx 10, Conquer Those Weekend. The other Brittany horse I think is highly underrated. So they'll try and I'm sure Sheldon will try and gun for it here, but that Michael Moore filly is going to be tough. Mare is going to be tough.
And you mentioned, here's Hazelwood and Gary's Onyx 10, who I
Yes.
respect. She's
highly. It was hard to keep her. It's she's in any other race setup with the quality that we have in here. She'd be top selection, top choice.
Yeah. But
that tells you if you're going any ticket, just go wide. Just go wide in this race. To be honest, I think it's a touch more wide open than what it seems like.
The Manfuso, the late Bob Manfuso, mile and a 16th, which starts pretty much on the turn, and that might be just what edge Barbadian runner could exploit. Obviously, this has been a magical year. We had so much fun talking to Henry Walters and Forrest Boyce after the Dickie Small, and this he's the horse to beat.
He is the horse to beat, but I'm going for post time in this race.
Oh, look at you! All right.
Yeah. Are we? No. So here's the thing. It was when it comes down to the Maryland Million Classic win. It was also Forrest taking advantage of was in that race, and I don't think that situation is going to be happening here for this race, especially when post time is sitting right outside of Barbadian Runner. I think Sheldon's going to sit there and stalk Forrest, and I think the tables might be a little bit turned on that one.
I just want to take a look at the figs. I'm immediately taken by actually the horse in between post time and Barbadian Runner.
Sure.
Teaching the Release. There's nothing wrong with Teaching the Release in here.
No, except for the argument that we had about the Jeff Runco horse. And so, if I'm going to have that opinion on a Jeff Runco horse, then the same applies here. Just going a mile and 16. But I will say, Murdoch and Lopez, they've teamed up 5 times, 5 wins.
How about that?
And Carlos is able to sit off of it a little bit last time out in that little experiment. So that's where this horse gets interesting to me. Because if you just have but the thing is, I think in this field he's going to be gunning for it. No question.
This is a good group. This is a really good group.
It's an excellent group. Yeah.
Hit the road, Jack, as well.
I'm sitting on Pay Billy one more time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I go 4-1 or 4-2-1, 4-2-8-7 because the one will be a scratch.
Not this boy coming. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Doug, who's running it? He's the fairgrounds. We talked about yesterday.
I did look at that race. That was the right decision to go in that race.
Good. It's a good sequence. For sure.
Great sequence.
Yeah.
For our late value pick 5, remember our pick 5s are at the 12% takeout. So that does start in the Bender Memorial.
Christmastide Stakes Day tomorrow. There's also a good maiden race early. The 3rd is a good group. It looks like might be some nice. Got a firster from Horacio De Paz. Street
I got there.
Boss.
Yes, I actually. So I texted Horacio about that horse, and I do like him a lot.
Adam on the grill.
Yep. Yep.
Callie, thanks for a wonderful 2025. Merry Christmas. Happy healthy.
Steve, it's been great. I do want to. Before we ended on a happy note, I do want to just take some attention and just give the condolences for the family of Jimbo, who did leave us on Monday, the Maryland community on Monday.
Yep.
For those not aware, Vincent Raquel Jr., known as Jimbo, he was a leading apprentice in 1970 in New Jersey. He's from Charlestown. 3,545 career victories. He was, of course, one of the riders of Ruffian. He won the Spinaway Stakes with her. Yep. But just a gentle soul, a smart. I've got to ride a couple races for him. Just the absolute sweetest man, and it's going to be, we definitely feel a hole. There's a void in the community over here, but at the same time, extremely grateful to be in Maryland at a time where I got to be around him. So very grateful to be around.
Well, of course, we had Tony Black, virtually, his lifelong best friend. Tony paid tribute on Wednesday, and we're at Tampa with his buddies. The Mid-Atlantic.
We'll have a moment of silence for him Saturday after the second race.
Good job. Really nice. Thanks, Callie.
Yeah, of course. Steve, it's been so fun. Outside of Jimbo, but it's been so fun being a part of your show for this past year, and I just can't wait for the future and what it brings, not only for myself but for Maryland racing as well.
Well, and just had that conversation with Pat McKenna, right on the heels of the new Belmont, the new Pimlico continues to.
There's a lot going on. I mean, I'm in the conversations I have with Dan Illman and the things that he wants to do. Just very excited about what Maryland's going to be doing for, it's going to be growing, and I'm excited.
As you should be. Callie Francois, everybody. Callie, safe travels when you go home. And there is the heft, I think, and the race stake as well next week. But 4 terrific stakes tomorrow at Laurel. Thanks, Cal.
For sure. Don't forget our free handicapping guide before every race day, just for you guys at Laurel. So tune in not only for the stakes races on Saturday, but for the following stakes races this weekend after Christmas as well. Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome. Callie Francois, everybody. Marcus Hirsch is with us, and we haven't had a chance to talk to Marcus since before Breeders' Cup. And since we both love the Saturday card at Fairgrounds, there was no way I was ending the year without your visit.
The card or the name of the card?
Well, the name has been officially retired, although when I mentioned to Gary Palmisano...
Never, it's not retired.
Palmisano
it is
said
always going to be Santa Super... What is it, Santa Super or Super Santa? And I can't remember.
It's Santa Super Saturday.
Yeah, so just brilliant marketing.
I told Palmisano the other day, I said, Marcus, I refuse to say new shooters when it comes to Pimlico and Preakness. And I said, and Marcus has the same policy when it comes to Santa Super Saturday. So Gary said, oh, well, then we're definitely bringing it back.
Yeah, don't say anything to him that will allow him to further antagonize me, please. I can't believe you gave that up. That's between you and me and the listeners that hear this conversation.
Too funny.
Anyway, I mean, I understand. You want to give these multi-stake days a name. I guess I don't really understand, but whatever.
Well, and now actually with the importance of the way the Untappable and the Gun Runner have drawn some quality horses the last couple of years, it really has morphed into the new road to the Oaks and Louisiana Derby kickoff.
Well, they're just. I mean, we don't see first level allowance races really for the most part this time of year anymore. And the I guess I didn't look as carefully at the untappable for who was eligible for what, but every horse in the gun runner is one other than. And these are good races for horses who got started later, mainly, like we got all these horses in holiday, but there are some horses who have, maybe they ran for the first time in October. Those horses are probably better suited to training through December and getting another race in them. Like, for instance, McPeak with Liberty National, who, unlike a lot of people who will say, I only look at one race at a time, I haven't even thought about anything past there, which obviously is never true. He's saying, well, if he does, we'll give him a break after this if he runs like that. We hope he does, meaning, he'll just won't race in January. But I think these December races serve a decent purpose for a certain subset of the population.
Well, and there is I don't think there's, I guess, McPeak, who's making a sixth start, but otherwise it's, third and mostly third timers coming back, and they're coming from, and we're starting with this gun runner conversation, very connected, McPeak, 9-2. And he's also got that Liberty National, who I think is the nominal favorite, right? At 7-2.
He is the morning line favorite. I think it'll be close between him and Chip Honcho. I would
Agreed.
imagine.
Chip Honcho, the Asmussen runner. Asmussen between. I'm coming to you from Remington, Marcus, for Springboard tomorrow night.
Wow.
And he's sending him here. But this Chip Honcho may be emergent. Agreed.
Chip Honcho, I think, is okay. Who's the other horse he has? That horse that ran behind him in the maiden race, Marauder. He just worked back the other day. I liked the way he finished in that race. And he's got the horse that ran in the KJC, Soldier and Diplomat. Obviously, he wouldn't be running back yet, but he's okay too.
What do you make of? And as it happens, I'm in the middle of a text exchange with Steve Asmussen. I should ask him, how often have you seen Asmussen put blinkers on Alpha Win?
We talked about that. I asked if he had to get permission from Mark Guidry at the steward at Fairgrounds, jokingly, because Guidry's to ride for Asmussen too. Actually.
Sure.
And he says no. That's a thing of the past. He's getting blinkers. I don't want to say this, Steve, it's going to come off like you should have read my story already. I did talk about it in my advance.
Why?
If you watch his replay, no, I'm just saying, you read the Daily Racing Form, and you'll get real information. I don't use he's doing really good. We think he's going to run well close, unless I absolutely have to. And then sometimes I will. I do try to avoid we turf writers have a habit of quotes for quote's sake, as I like to call it, which is not really helping anyone, just filling up space. He ducked the gap going into off the chute into the main track in his one-turn mile last time. Did it pretty significantly. That's why he's getting blinkers, because of that little maneuver. This horse has a magician mare. His sister just got claimed for, I think, $5,000 at Turfway from trainer Andrew McKeever the other day. I can't really tell in pedigree. He's a big horse. I don't think he's meant to go forever, but he debuted him at 7/8. And as he said, he'll be fine going the distance he needs to go this weekend. So mile and 16th, and we'll figure things out. This field, Cox, I think, I wouldn't be surprised from what he's saying if Arabia Wild, one of his three entrants, comes out. And another one of them, Quality Mischief, the owners clearly are taking a shot. He's an off-turf horseshoe Indianapolis narrow maiden winner. He would need to step forward massively to contend. His third horse, Mr. Punch, it's an Into Mischief, $250,000, auction buy, and they ran him. I mean, he just ran a Kentucky Downs first out, and that made sense given the pedigree. And I don't hold that race against it, but they're back for $100,000, which, you know, in Kentucky right now, that's people are claiming horses for 75 and 100, and it's not that rare. But so they're willing to risk him. I thought he ran pretty well. He got a good trip against not a great field, but not terrible from the look of things. I don't know. And he took him to Payson, where he's taken all of his, from what I can tell, most of his best stock this winter, even more so than last winter. I don't know how much that means for this horse. There was one work video from him, and he works all right. I mean, he's got a decent draw to get a good trip. I'm out. I didn't think quite as much of him as definitely as Liberty National, whose race I really liked. I don't necessarily like him if he's a hype horse and going to get bet down, but I do like him and think I picked him to win. Now McPeak will win with the first timer here and there these days, but for the most part, in his history, his horses that are even pretty good will run like this horse ran sprinting at Keeneland, where he just kind of ran in spots and finished up nice. It just was a classic needs a race to move forward race, and he did. And Hernandez gave him a great trip. It was the Mystic Dam trip up the rail in that allowance race. But even taking that into account, the horse really finished great and looked very good doing it. I think he's quite talented, but on the buyers, at least, and see the other figures, he doesn't have any edge. And if he's going to get bet down, well, I wouldn't want to get too excited about him.
Marcus, before we move to the Phil, what do you do with the Ohio bred with Crown the Buckeye?
He was all right. I mean, I think he could get the 2 turns. I'm easy at lead. I'm not throwing him out, but I wasn't that taken with him. I guess Sharif against 10. Sort of in the Churchill maiden win, which I don't think there was as good a race worked again, but this horse finished up right in that race. He's not meant to be a sprinter, and basically did everything wrong, including kind of pull himself up when he made the lead last time. I think he's probably a little bit better than that, but also he's definitely got some maturing to do. He would not be a surprise to me either. I think it's pretty good. Steve, it's a good gun runner. Well, it remains to be seen whether we're saying that coming out of it, but going in, I think there are 4 horses here who I'm interested to see if they take that step forward that I'm sure everyone involved with them wants to see.
The Philly side of things has kind of a similar feel, actually, with Pashmina and with the Hit Parade. I mean,
Stidham. To me, Steve, quite frankly, the Colts, as of where I stand right now, look a lot more interesting. This has more of a cobbled together feel, shall we say, rather than a logical step. But the horse you mentioned is the one that fits into that category, right? Pashmina. Did you watch her race?
The Maiden Breaker? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she looks
like
visually
impressive.
She looks like
the
goods.
Whatever. I mean, I know she didn't beat much. The early season fairgrounds maidens are often quite soft, and that one was, but visually it was. The visual to me was better than the buyer speed figure. That sometimes goes one way, sometimes another, but I do think the horse is capable of moving forward. Ben Curtis rides her back, and he kind of down her, even though she was going clear, and sometimes that annoys me, but I think in this case it made perfect sense. She didn't do much in her first race and needed to get some sort of experience. She had overwhelmed the competition with her ability. And that I think the trainer said this at Trop, and I thought too that she really responded when he asked. She's a pretty good-looking Scopy horse from what I can tell in my little video. I don't see her going off at 5-1. Is the thing. There are a couple of cross entrants here. I didn't talk to trainer Jonathan Wong, but I did talk to other people at fairgrounds, and the expectation is that filly is going to run at Delta instead. Funny Bunny is entered, I believe, in a maiden race today, but
Yes.
the owners want to take a shot here, so she's going there. Miss Call is not going to go to Remington and will run at fairgrounds, according to her trainer, Kenny McPhee. I mean, Love Your Neighbor got the figure for that race. It came back better than Pashmina, but I feel going in, the horse paved well as she did show some ability. This horse got caught kind of between horses late. She wasn't really traveling that great. Just okay. He's stretching out. We'll see. I mean, I didn't think that much of Have Faith. The horse Hit Parade is probably favored for Cox and Saez, even though she ran for a 50 tag second out. Another odd one. But if you watch that race, she's way better than the 47 Buyer. 50-4 for the half. I mean, it's like a slow pace 1.5 mile turf race. She got shuffled back. She was near the tail of the field. She got into some trouble. She did well to win by 2 lengths, and it's not a huge surprise to me that her number bumped up so much. She handled this horse, Miss Call, the McPeak horse, who's okay, cutting back to a 1-turn mile, and this looks like a 2-turn filly for sure. I don't know that she's on track to being another, great Cox 3-year-old filly, but I do think that she'll be very competitive on Saturday.
That's the Untappable. Backing up into the Diliberto. This is a good group.
It's not bad. I don't think it's. I mean, it's kind of race you'd expect for a listed turf stake in December, I suppose. I would assume there are going to be 2 defined favorites here, right? In Capuna and Gigante.
Feels right, and I guess Emmanuel will attract some money.
Not any of my money.
Yesterday I had Frank McGoey, and we thought this was a set of horses, and that there were prices that I made a case for Theismann, who clearly has taken a step forward.
I see the prices thing. I liked Capuna's race last time, and that was a good group he beat, but he's got his other trip back in April of 2023 was fine. They could have run him back on turf at some point. This one was much better, but he's going to get bet. I guarantee it. And he could be the one. He is a 6-year-old coming off a big race, and there was just one race on one course, so I wouldn't want him at a short price. And Gigante, he's been going along for 14 months, and he's an iron horse. He likes fairgrounds. On his best day, he win this race. Just the 2 races at Remington. I mean, I don't know what to make of him going there. It might have been short for him there. He's another. I'm with you racing this race. Diamond is an interesting horse. He was up against it, drawn inside with speed outside him at Keeneland last time, and we all know that you add a second onto the quarter times in Keeneland mile on the 16th grass race. So even accounting for that, he went a fast pace and stepped up from a 2 other than to a 3 other than. His 2 other than actually, and I don't know what his ceiling is. So I'm a little worried because I like legalize, and I'd rather be blessed. Our horses that absolutely are going to have to go forward as far as I can see, and I think Theismann is the same way. I'd be a little concerned about him getting caught up in a hot pace, but he also could take a little sit, right behind the speed. Others don't go. To me, it's a good horse to land on, Steve.
Well, and I'm just noticing. I just pulled up the selections from Racing Form. You've got Proven at 12-1, and coming in from Evangeline performances, and you made him your best bet.
Well, Ed DeRosa says his fair odds are 20. Can we get 20?
Can we get
I
20?
say maybe. I think he could be. He could be
float up
17-1. I mean, I don't know who's
Okay.
going to bet on this horse. He won the John Henry with an 82 buyer in July and hasn't run since. You know who Norman Miller is, the owner?
No, I don't know if I've seen that name.
I assume it's the same Norman Miller. I mean, I think it was Norman Miller the fourth. He was first the groom for Bonaparte, and then later in his career was the trainer of Bonaparte.
Oh, wow.
That horse based in Louisiana with Tucker Alonso. He won the Grade 1 Vosburg at the time.
Sure.
So Mr. Miller is familiar with Fairground Stakes races, and maybe it's just, I don't know. It's the fourth, okay? I didn't reach out to him. I'm presuming it's the same guy. I think that this horse, he didn't work back after the John Henry, and I think they just waited for the Fairground Stakes series because the horse was really good at Fairgrounds 2 seasons ago. In the Woodchopper, he just got a steady line. He got completely boxed in going around the far turn for a furlong. Had no chance to get out. I think he probably wins that race. And Chasing the Crown, who he was getting to in his next start, was second in the Pegasus Turf last winter. And then, I liked him in the Muniz. I hated the ride he got. He was so passive. He just had no chance whatsoever given the position he was put in. And that was for Alice Cohn, the great Alice Cohn. And the horse, didn't go back. I don't know. He ended up here. I saw from watching his 2 races at Evangeline, the horse that I thought he was becoming, long layoff. And knowing that, I feel like I have secret knowledge on this horse because I was so high on him before. Given the price and the vulnerability of the favorite, I think he's an interesting horse to play. I put him in weekend game plan.
I was going to have. We'll circle to that. We just got a minutes, but I was going to ask about the other 2 races you included.
Yeah, well, I don't remember what they are. So.
I think you took the tinsel.
Oh God, I was desperate, wasn't
I? Let's talk about the Tenacious, and then I want to get a quick hit
Tenacious.
On the maiden races. It's there's some interesting older horses that look. McPeak's got that Sir Greyland who looks like he's ready to maybe take a next step. Doug Cowens with Not This Boy is okay, but of course Just a Touch is trying to relaunch himself again.
Yeah, Not This Boy is running here and not at Laurel apparently. Well, because post-Laurel race, the Laurel race came up pretty tough too. Guy almost beat Hit Show. Hit Show had a good fall. He looked. He's 4-5. He just bounced or whatever in the Churchill race. He didn't run as well as he had in the 2 previous starts. It happens. Although I do like Moonlight, who won that race, better at 1 turn. I think he's legit. He's definitely forward and Morabino Omoide with the rail. Just a touch he's not gonna get an easy lead. What do you think of that horse? Just a
Which
touch.
one?
Who's gonna be 4-5, not 7-5 or 3-5?
Right, exactly. Listen. This seems like you never know with Brad Cox if this is a means to an end? Is this a Pegasus prep? Is it a prequel?
This was the lead of my story. Exactly. It seems like a step-on race, right? But
Yes.
toward what? And is it?
Exactly. That's the
Because
mystery.
he hasn't won a stake. They probably want to win a stake with the horse at some point.
It's true. He's grade one. He's grade one placed.
Yeah, that Bluegrass. I mean, that was pretty damn good race. Third start, first time 2 turns, sat off a fast pace, got beat by Sierra Leone. Not bad. And
it made him a big fancy into the Derby. He was
that didn't go well.
No, it did not.
He may have run worse in the Monmouth Cup than in the Derby. I'm kidding, but Cox had this plan because he had to split up a bunch of older horses this year, right? So he pointed for the Metropolitan for I don't know. I thought he'd run better in that race, and it makes you wonder who he is. But he did not have a great trip at an awkward configuration on a sloppy track. I don't know that I rate him off that totally. But then I thought it was weird that because he didn't race for 6 weeks and then he went. The Monmouth move did not positive to me at all. I was not that surprised he went down there. I mean, it's surprising because seems like all he has to do is run around there and he wins. So he works like a really good horse. He has run against over competition like he's a really good horse. He is as in as anyone in this card, just who he is.
Exactly, and I'll slip in. Stephen Skaggs makes a great point looking at the PPs. This is a horse who's been very good with Lasix and less good without it.
Yeah. He didn't have Lasix in the Bluegrass.
True enough, but those two performances.
I thought his man something to that. We'll see.
It clearly, you see and of course those were allowances at Fairgrounds in March and Keeneland.
I got an even deeper Lasix cut if you want to go that route, and that's San Siro, who he regressed in New Orleans Classic, but has not run on Lasix since then. If he runs back to his February 1st, 2 other than, and gets the setup I think he's going to get, he's got a chance to pull an upset in this race.
That's a terrific pick. That is a great pickup.
Because I thought he was like legit off that allowance race when he had showed signs of it. He had showed signs at the end of his 3-year-old year, and then they're running him 2.5 miles to try to get him back. By August, I'm just Xing all those races out and going back to the possibility he can return to that form in a race that could set up for him, or just a touch wins by 8. No surprise there either.
I guess, right? Marcus, before we wrap, any of these maiden races, horse that you're excited about watching? The nice sequence of maidens.
No, because we don't have the workout videos drying up every day. There's nothing from Fairgrounds that I have seen. I just this is the greatest handicapping innovation of my lifetime, basically. I don't understand why the racing, the tracks and racing at large doesn't get fully behind it if they truly care about their customers having the best information to make their wagers and be good customers. So it's annoying to me. I mean, I feel like I'm back to the dark ages. You get spoiled when you can actually see the horses who haven't run, and see what they look like and see how they travel. It's quite a benefit. So I got almost no workout video from these races, so I'm flying blind. There was one Cox horse that I can't remember. He's got Coronado the Nyquist in race 3, who I think I saw that horse work. I can't remember. I think
Frank likes it.
Where's the Knicks go? Oh, that horse, Cox's MK's Rocket. There was a Churchill work for that filly. No bueno. Off of that, total toss for me.
No.
Where's the Knicks go? Race 6?
The Knicks go. I saw that one too, as it happened. Yeah, 6 sounds right.
Gethsemane.
Yes.
That horse is. I think they like that horse.
Well, there's every reason to certainly from an ownership. You got China Horse and Windstar and company and 425.
Rig is honor for DeVoe in that race.
Yep.
Has positive vibes too. Might need longer. Unfortunately, I don't. I don't know much.
Special. All right.
The people looking at the paper for the first time. No.
You do have in the 7th, you got the half to Yinzer, Sweet Retreat for Asmussen and Farish. And
I've got that horse.
The 6, 12-1.
Huh.
But you know who made as it happens, Frank McGoey made a big push on Cruisin' Chuck. He's going to bet that one back, but he's not going to get the 30-1 that he got.
Cruisin' Chuck was good.
Yep.
By Uncle Chuck.
Well, and I do see that you nailed the. I see where Cruisin' Chuck you've got second, but you went to Prepped, which I can understand. That's the half to Koala Princess for Cherie and Leal. I talked about that one yesterday too.
Yes, I felt pretty good about that selection. It was just one of those debut turf routes where the horse finished 6th. You watch the race; the horse ran quite well. Just needed a better setup. So,
Marcus, real quick, because I got to get a bunch in yet. Your other game plans were the Tinsel and the Suwannee River.
Suwannee River, 2 N's and 2 E's, I'm told.
Yes.
I didn't have the line. I didn't have the line when I did this, and I was dismayed to see the horse that I was quite high on, the 3-1 favorite. A horse whose name I will now attempt to remember, and fail. One of 8 in the race for trainer Safi Joseph. I think he has 4, really.
He does. He does. You're talking about
moving
on up.
Moving on up is the
to the east side. To a
3-1.
deluxe apartment in the sky.
There were works from Paul Meadows on this one, and I thought they were quite good. She's working by herself. You can tell it's late in the session. The track's all chewed up on dirt, and she's a turf horse. But even taking all that into account, I liked what I saw on the paper because her 2 races at Gulfstream were quite good. I mean, she got the trip in the stakes win, but she just buried those horses. And it looks like she's at least as good now as she was then. I was hoping for a little bit more, but I guess maybe it's too obvious. And if you go past the tipping point with horses like this, and suddenly you got 8 to 5, and you're blocked behind. We'll see on the value proposition.
How about the Tinsel? Well, we're going to talk to Matt Dinnerman in a couple of minutes.
The Tinsel, well, Woodcourt for me, right?
I'm interested.
Free Willie, is he the favorite? Who's the other horse you've? I'm already on to Sunday, and my brain is Sundayed.
I hear you. D's
and
and
this is terrible video. At least make some jokes or something while I'm looking it up.
Because I'm
Tell me about your house.
We don't even have any.
What kind of cruise are you taking?
As it turns out, Thanksgiving's our big holiday.
rattle and roll. There you go. And he was, you can't really hold this against him. He had barely, I know he had done some at Magdalena with him, but he had like 2 breezes, 3 breezes. He definitely needed that race, but I was a little, he was pretty flat in the car. He's turning 7. He spent the last winter overseas. He's never run at Oaklawn. He's pace dependent. No, thank you. And the Willie D's horse, he did pop that 100 buyer loose on the lead at Saratoga. I suppose that's something, but you got to keep in mind with his Schaefer that was huge inside speed bias, which he rode to victory. His only stakes win. Yes, he's perfectly capable of going wire to wire in this race. And this is another race like that Diliberto where the 2 favorites were not completely solid, in my opinion. Woodcourt, on the other hand, you just draw a line through his last 2 races. The 1-turn mile and the slough, he definitely needed that. And then he ran, I don't know why they sent him back to Zia. He got beat 1,000,000 miles when they sent him there the first time, and the same thing happened again. So X that one out. And he first came to prominence, what prominence he's gained at Oaklawn, and he was progressive at the end of his last form cycle. I was hoping he takes a step forward from that at something like his 10-1.
Nice. That'll work. Marcus, great to close out the year. And after the first, we'll probably have a little championship discussion and the like. Best wishes for the holiday and a healthy, happy, successful 2026.
All right. Same to you, Steve, and to your millions of global listeners. Happy holidays.
Marcus Hirsch, everybody, DRF Hirsch. And first opportunity to catch up with Marcus, Fairgrounds. And hopefully we see him down there for Risen Star Week. You're listening to Twin Spires Weekend Preview, last of 2025. And we're not going to take a break. We're going to come back. Second half starts now. Here's James Scully. And James, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. Happy holidays to you and yours. I hope everything's going good.
It is. We got Springboard Mile here tomorrow night at Remington, and plenty of options.
Are you going to take a nap? Are you going to take a nap early in the day, or what's your plan?
I think that may be in the offing. Yes, that would not be surprising, because the 10:30 post is a little dicey.
Yeah, it's 11:36 Eastern. I was saying, heck, they get a little bit of drag. They'll be running that race on December 21st.
Well, it's their last race of the season. It's the last race of the year. So I'm sure everybody will want to wrap it up, with alacrity. But no, I got to be ready. I'm giving out the trophy again this year for the Jim Thorpe, which I really was tickled last year when they asked, and I'm as big a Jim Thorpe fan as anybody in this era. So it's very cool to me to give out the Jim Thorpe trophy. So I got to be ready.
All right. Well, yeah, we've got some good racing this weekend for sure. If you're going to be playing the races, go to twinspires.com. Check out our offers page. We got a bunch of promotions. Make sure you opt in. A couple of popular ones are going to be taking place Saturday at Fairgrounds and Sunday at Turfway. There's $5,000 with ladder promos where if you're cash $10 your first $10 win wager on all the races on the day, we're going to give you a
big time. There's lots of other options. You got the exact Turfway. You've got points bonus at Tampa and win ladder at Fairground, on and on and on. There's is pretty much a venue you're going to want to take a look at over the next 48 hours.
And we've moved. We've got on the tournament front. We got a bunch of events going on over the next 3 days: today, tomorrow, and Sunday. We've got. We moved that synthetic betting championship to Sunday. We've got a $1,000 Oaklawn KDVC NHC qualifier. I guess that's coming up in another week at Oaklawn, and we've got lots of daily events for less than $100. Some of these daily challenges for $70 and much more. So check out the tournaments tab at twinspires.com. You can see all the details and schedule.
Well, and Sunday's $750 Turfway synthetic championship. Cash prizes and the NHCC.
Yeah, the NHCC. Those are. These events are popular and get a lot of participation. And encourage anybody that likes to play tournaments to check it out. We do have that. Got a big. I'm going to take a look at Fairgrounds tomorrow's program. If that's all right with you. Got a
dive in.
Got some thoughts on some maiden races. I'm going to start just in race number 4. One thing I'm going to say about the morning line at Fairgrounds is that I thought there were some tough ones, Steve. Even in this Gun Runner, where you have a 7-2 morning line choice and then 3 9-2 second choices, makes it. I don't think it's a really very tough gauge. But in race 4, number 8 Niche is 8-1 on the morning line in here for Rob, and I like this filly at first asking in here. I think she shows us a solid work tab, and she is bred to run early. I think it's really remarkable. Yapon's going to be the leading freshman sire. We got these 2 preps this weekend for 2-year-olds, the Springboard Mile and the Gun Runner, and both those races have state winning at almost 25% clip first out. And this dam, she's already all of her runners that all of her offspring that started at 2 have won, and Niche is a half to Corona Bold, who won his first 2 starts by open lens as a 2-year-old. And like I said, that's a 6 furlong, one of the main races for 2-year-old colts. I do like Reagan's Honor. I think he'll get bet down from. He's got 6 works locally, including a nice 5 furlong drill, and appeared to outwork even that another firster that's in race 4 for Cherie. And one thing about this Reagan's Honor, I'll say this: Honor AP is okay with firsters. This dam, Ruin, she won her career debut at Santa Anita at 21-1. And she's a sister to Giacomo and multiple Grade 1 winner Tiago.
Right.
So an older mare. This is only her second full, I think this Reagan's Honor, could be a good one for Cherie DeVoe.
Agreed. 8-1. Ben Curtis aboard. Cherie off to a nice start too at the meet.
Yeah, and then in race 7, I thought that was a pretty competitive looking turf maiden special weight race for 2-year-olds. And I'm going to take a shot with number. And listen, I respect number 3 Prepped, and if that horse wins, I'll be fine. I won't be surprised. But I'm going to take a shot with Ace's Honor, number 4 in here. This is one of 2 runners in the field for Ethan West. And the thing about in this fall, at Churchill Downs, they're running on the turf all meet, but there were only so many of these 2-year-old turf races. Even the dirt maiden special weights at Horseshoe Indy can be pretty good. But this race on September 17th, I mean, this winner for Brendan Walsh, signatory man, hadn't run back, but could be okay. And Sheree DeVoe trains the runner-up bullfight. Brett Cox had runners in there. That was like a Churchill Keeneland maiden special weight. And this Aces Honor showed good tactical speed and was in position, came up a length short in third. Definitely eligible to prove in his second turf start onto that last effort of the main track at 10-1. Got a shot at least at challenge for a spot in the money. I thought off that first race on turf. I like number 4, Aces Honor, in race 7.
10-1 with Marcelino Pedroza taking over. Pocket Aces and Ethan West. All right.
And then I will go to the stakes, the untappable. I'm on Miss Call in there, Peak. Listen, I just thought that was a real trouble time, and I liked her efforts going a one-turn or going a mile distance. But she broke her maiden going 2 turns. It was on turf, but she's going to appreciate the 2 turns, I think, on Saturday, and it's certainly a candidate to start last time. Really caused her any chance, and at one point it looked like she didn't fire at all from at the back, but she's been in the stretch to be for a much improved effort.
Miss Call 3-1. Brian Peak.
Yeah. And then in the gun runner, I mean, hoping to get a little bit of a better price. Listen, he was green in that maiden win on November 7th, but I think the horse he beat, Liberty Valance, he's the morning line favorite in the last race. I look for him to run well in there. Sure, got to be like a length. Carson Street, 1 win. This Mesquite, he really makes 2 runs because, like in mid-stretch, he used to lean into a rival and Jose sort of eased back on him, and then he just came again to win going away higher. I think a lot of room, and I think he's got 4. exactly. I'm taking on those two favorites. Steve.
You devil, yeah, you. And I thought that Dreamin' Blue for Randy Morse had a bit of a look at 10-1.
Yeah, definitely.
3-4-8-5 for me. That's all right. LSF baby. And of course, last week, folks, a nice pop by James with the last second Friday push. What did we get? $17 last week.
Yeah, $17. So
yeah.
Let's make it 2 in a row. Hey, Steve, once again, hope you have a great rest of your holiday season, and excited. Look forward to talking to you in 2026.
You got it, James. Thanks for everything. Merry Christmas, Gigi, and have a terrific holiday. Happy, healthy New Year.
Thank you.
James _Scully 111. Much more active, of course, at Twin Spires with the jury and with the individual, long shot plays and various other analysis that you get throughout Twin Spires, all across the gamut of the betting menus. Matt Dinnerman is going to check in, and that was actually a good intro from James into today's action, because, of course, we're going to keep swinging after this $3 get out pick 3. And it's a tough sequence, I thought, today, as it happens, starting with that 8th race, the 3/4 second level allowance. Matt Dinnerman, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. How you doing?
I am good. Fresh off of a terrific opening weekend. You had fabulous weather, actually, that I think helped drive the action, and nice attendance. Not that attendance needs, even in bad weather, they turn out in Hot Springs.
Well, that's exactly right. Very dedicated racing fans here, and we're trying to keep Mother Nature happy, and hopefully she can continue to grace us with some decent weather, and that's what it looks like for this weekend as well. So the first 3 days of racing went uneventfully, but in a very, very good way. Just really good racing, good field sizes, great payouts, and as you mentioned, we got a few new wagers on the docket this year, including that out pick 3, and the $1 Class 6 is not really a new bet, but it is back. The last 6 races on the card, and we have a $45,000 carryover. It's not a jackpot carryover, so whenever you see that pick 6 carryover here at Oaklawn, there's no jackpot there.
Well, before we talk about today, tomorrow, and Sunday, I had Ray Ashford on yesterday, and there you are. You're up in the crow's nest, and you're calling races. Not that good splashy 2-year-old isn't going to come across your, your radar screen. But what did you make a code on Sunday?
Yeah, that was something else. So, I mean, I had actually, I know you talked to Marcus Hirsch earlier, and he had I don't think he could force to win like that. And it was quite the race, because he didn't look like he was going very fast down the lane. He just was natural. I guess that's what some of the really good horses are like. They don't look like they're running that fast. They just superior. And the way he was geared down in the end, I think that was pretty impressive. That made it most important to win the race than himself, and that was his cruising speed. So that was else. It'd be hard pressed to find a maiden winner for the rest of the meet as talented as that and as impressive as that. He set the bar pretty high, but it will be interesting because it sounds like they are pointing for the Southwest. So going 2 turns, that's going to be a whole different ball game for him.
Well, and Ray's confident, and he's going to train him to try to put some little extra bottom in him. But he certainly galloped out nice, and Torres had geared him down. It was something. Let's talk about. Let's slip in a quick hit on today before we look at the card on Saturday, because I am curious about your take on the get out pick 3, the second level allowance. You look at this group, Matt, and Irvadine is the quote unquote right horse and everything. Tell you what, he hasn't won since New Year's Eve 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's gotten very win shy, and I don't know if you can rely on him.
I agree 100% with you, Steve. I don't think she's 5-2 on the morning line simply because her numbers are as good as anybody's, and by quite a few in mind. I think you have to tap one of the fastest horses in the race per se, but as you mentioned, she doesn't win often. And another thing is, if you're a pace handicapper, you're going to see there's a lot of speed in here, and she doesn't look like one that can really stalk. It looks like she needs to go to be at her very, very best. She can stalk and run effectively, but she hasn't won unless she's up close to the pace. So with that in mind, I actually think this is very much a possibility for a big price to come in. And I picked a price in here, Demi Danu, who won last year here at Oaklawn. I think she's going to get a great, but I think there's a lot of for her to sit off and maybe a pace collapse happen. And here she comes with a run. And I like a price that she's going to run very well. And I think that this is very much going to set up for a horse from pace.
I absolutely, Demi Danu for Dwayne Lloyd makes a ton of sense in here. And you go back to those races back at the year, people are going to say, the current form, forget the Prairie Meadows form. I mean, look what this horse, off a similar kind of layoff. It did take a couple of tries before that allowance win, but has hit boards consistently at Oaklawn. I agree. I also thought that Gloriette had the same kind of a look. A horse for is back in the hands of Shea Stewart. Look at her races back beginning of the year, January, February, March. She likes it at Oaklawn. So I thought there were a couple jits that were very, very viable options. I'm delighted to hear you say that.
And I think we've seen time and time again that Oaklawn can produce those types of value horses. So if you like one of them, don't be nervous on that. If you're a handicapper, be excited, because those are definitely possible, those types of horses. And especially you mentioned Gloriette there, Steve. If you're sort of in the camp of somebody who believes in seasonal horses that in certain seasons, certain parts of the year, they feel good, they run good, they're at a track they like, Gloriette's one of them. She had really good form last year early in the meet, and then it sort of tailed off a little bit. But maybe she can get back to her form last year. Why not? She's in with a big shot. So we've seen, Steve, as well, this pick 3 as we're sort of highlighting it. The payoff's good. And I just wanted to note, I've said this in a couple different media outlets, but when I was at Golden Gate Fields, we had the Golden Hour wagers, and they were very successful, I think. And I think that the players love them because of their overlay payouts. And the concept's the same with both our get out late pick 3 and also the late double, which is a $5 minimum. The pick 3 here, the late pick 3 is a $3 minimum. We've increased the minimum, but we've lowered the takeout. Both of those bets are 15%. And what that does is it produces overlay payouts. So even though maybe you got more selective because your budget may stay the same, but the minimum's higher, if you hit, you're going to get a really good payout. And especially, Steve, if the Gloriettes or Demi Danus of the world come in,
yes,
then you're looking at a very, very happy camper if you can get home.
Glance at the stocks. James just tabbed Sharp Winger 8-1 for Mike Miller in the stake.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Kalahari Dreams and You Devil You are the obvious two players. I also thought that Dreamin' Blue from Randy Morse had a look in here at 10-1.
Well, Steve, hopefully good minds think alike, buddy, because I picked Dreamin' Blue as well. I really like this horse in this race.
How about that?
Really like here. He's always been a stride him routing, and I just think that one turn is what he wants to do. Comes off, I thought, a really solid effort last time out against Older. And we have a stake every day here at Oaklawn. And Pat Pope really getting creative with these conditions. Overnight stake here for 3-year-olds. I think this is just a really Randy Morris to put this horse in this type of condition. He fits the condition to a T. Other horses like Amoroso, who's won 7 times, a couple other horses that have won more than once. He's a non-2 still. But I do think that he's a very good horse. He likes this track and he likes sprinting. And there's not quite as much pace in race 9 as race 8, believe it or not. But I still think it'll be decent enough for him to stock and run into.
Nice. All right. Well, so we've got a lot in common going into the 10th. Here's, this is a 12-5 non-winners of 3 lifetime. And, the obvious players, Tranch for Adam Kitchingman, coming in, of course, from California, and Tis Wicked Strong, the 4 and the 5. I think they've got to be on the ticket. And I thought there's a weird horse in here. John Haran brings Remember the Fear in here. And on Thorograph, this gelding is arcing up toward a good effort. And does own a win at Oak and a couple of board hits. I mean, at the very least, I'll probably, I don't know if I can, at $3 an increment, I don't know if I can use those 3 horses in the last leg, but I may have a saver bet.
Well, really hard to win going the flat mile here at Oaklawn, especially because we do have that short stretch run because we end at the 16th pole with these mile races here, sort of like Keeneland. The good news for him is that he comes from off the pace, so hopefully, other horses that are quicker than him can just go on with it, and he can cross over and try to save some ground into that first turn to make a run by the far turn. Tranch, interestingly enough, he's actually running out of his conditions. He's a non-2, and this is a non-3 race. What happened there was last week there was a non-2 route race that they had enough horses in it, but there were a lot of different races going, obviously, with so many horses entering here, and the race was called off. And I'm pretty sure they probably entered this horse in this race because he's ready to run. They wanted him in for 12-5, and he may just have to run out of his conditions. He looks like the best horse anyway, but he's taken a big-time drop in class from Allowance Company in for 12-5. So it could be a swing or a miss type of deal, or it could be swinging and hit it off the score. This horse could either win for fun or maybe things get ugly, depending on why he's in for a tag. Is he in for a tag to win and the purse is good, or is he in for a tag because his form's going in the wrong direction? We're going to find out by, 4:45 Central Time. But I would say he's definitely the horse to beat in here.
All right. The $3 get out pick 3 and the $5 late double at Oaklawn. And then tomorrow we got let's do the similar exercise. We've got the Tinsel second level allowance and a first level allowance, really a quality sequence. And there's actually the 5th, I thought was a spot I wanted to ask you about. What do you got in the 5th tomorrow?
That's a really good race.
Yep.
And one of the tougher races on the card, I think, Steve. So you tabbed the competitive race. It was like I were in picks. It's interesting you asked me about this race because I probably have the least strong opinion. If I'm a handicapper telling you this is a race I have a strong opinion on, this is one that I don't have a strong opinion on. This is one of these races that I have a pick. Not going to be very creative. I think Moonlight Dash is quick enough out of these couple of speed horses at Philly Crystal. I think those quickest horses in the race. I think Moonlight Dash quick enough to get to the lead. And if he can duplicate her maiden race, he's going to be pretty tough against this group. But I think it really all depends how hard Philly Crystal number 8 presses her. What I like is that Moonlight Dash did deal with pressure going 6.5 last time and was able to shake clear and win anyway. Good run there for the Phil Bauer trainee. So I don't have any value here in terms of a top selection, but I will say if things get a little mad out on the front end, it could definitely set up for an off the pace horse. So I wouldn't single a horse like Moonlight Dash, but she's my pick.
Yeah, this is a pretty good group, and you've got a couple of horses that had late starts to their career, including Moonlight Dash. But David Fox has got Untamed Moment for the Leblongs, first out winner at Ellis in August, and has had at least 2 works at Oaklawn getting ready for this. I just caught my eye, that race. Let's talk. Let's do the same exercise. The 8th, 9th, and 10th tomorrow. And the tinsel, we just talked about the tinsel with Marcus Hirsch, actually. And Marcus is reaching for Woodcourt at a nice price in this group. Small group, but competitive.
I think so. And I feel like the tinsel is going to be one of these races every year, going a mile and an eighth, that 9 furlongs to where it can significantly make the race here. And I think Marcus's angle, I would imagine, is that there's not that much pace in this race. And Woodcourt, probably from the inside, I would imagine is going to be aggressive in here. I do feel Rattle and Roll is probably going to be pretty tough in here. I just think on a class edge, he really stands out to me. The knock I have on him is that he is a bit of a closer, and there isn't that much pace in here. But I got to, at some point, find a single, and he probably would be mine. I just feel that this is a really good spot for him to get a confidence booster and then move on into the 2026 season, maybe with bigger and better things from him. I don't think he's a grade 1 horse necessarily, but at the same time, he doesn't need to beat a field like this. So I think he'll be pretty tough in here. But I do think Woodcourt, Woodcourt has not run well as of late without Lasix, and he's not running on Lasix in this race because it's a stake. But if he can run his very best race, then he's not in without a chance.
Who else do you start the ticket with?
You know, one horse that I thought was a little bit interesting in this race was Macman, a horse that did not run well last time out over a sloppy surface, but he's never run well in the wet going, so you can be forgiving of that. If I were doing some sort of exacta with Rattle and Roll, I think Macman would 100% be underneath for me. I think this horse is not necessarily the most round. I think this horse is very interested underneath in exotics for me if I'm thinking he's going to win the race. And the same can be said with Money Supply. A horse, yeah, he's a closer like Rattle and Roll, like he's quite as good. But he's another one that's probably going to go off at a price that could definitely round out that exacta spot.
All right, so maybe 2 to get the sequence started. $3 pick 3. And speaking of Ray Ashford and Tom Durant and Decode, they've got Big City from the rail with Tyler Bacon in the 9th race. Second level allowance. Some interesting names in here, including Politically Correct, who's trying to get his career back going. On since Human Mill at Keene last October, returned to the races about 13 months later. Showed some speed, kind of a pop and stop virtual in November, but a horse that showed plenty of ability or potential last year. Beyond that, it seems like a really well-matched field.
Really good race, very competitive. Big City is my second pick. I don't think he's going to be 12 to 1, but I do think he'll be a decent enough price. I think this horse makes a lot of sense. He should get a good trip. I know he's on the rail, does not need the lead. He's got enough stuff in a good spot. Hopefully Tyler Bacon can work out a good trip there, but this horse is always figured to do well at the second level condition if given the chance. Didn't run well at it last time out. That was back in February though, and he took 10 months off, so probably had an excuse there. My top pick in this race is Lip Save, but usually a runner like this I might try because last time out he ran on a muddy surface and he got a huge figure for it at 27 at this level. So you might say to yourself initially, well, maybe this horse just really liked the wet going. But he's run other wet track races and his speed figures have been fairly comparable to his fast track races. I actually think, believe it or not, and I think this is sort of a rarity because usually horses don't run in a certain distances and then you come to find out they don't get if they do it for a long period of time. I think this horse wants less distance than he's been running at. Steve. I think this horse really wants the one turn. He's gone a 1-turn mile before in a bunch of route race sequences going turns, and he ran good there. His only other sprint race besides last time out, he actually broke his maiden on debut for fun and got a lead figure for a maiden. I just wonder if this horse is running 1-turn horse. So I'm going to play him right back, knowing there's a lot of good race going 1-turn again. Maybe the wet track did help him a little bit last time with that big figure, but I also think maybe they're onto something, that maybe this horse all along has just wanted to go 1-turn.
You get that. I mean, that absolutely a scenario. The nightcap tomorrow, first level allowance, and we are going 3/4 again. I mean, this is what we're only we got 6 cards that have been drawn, and we're getting this on a daily basis. Well matched fields, and listen, they're running for 115,000.
That's right, and the old phrase goes, "Money talks." If the money's there, people are going to show up and they're going to run. And actually, after this January break, the purses are going to increase. So there's a lot of reasons and a lot of green for running here at Oaklawn. This is another race like race 9. There's a lot of pace in it. It's a first level allowance race. I'm going to take a little shot with Sinner's Sin, who won here 2 starts ago at Oaklawn for a mid-level claiming tag, which is usually a pretty salty group of older horses in a race like that, open 30s, 40s. And he hasn't been seen in 9 months for trainer Ron Moquett, a trainer. You think about Chad Brown, who gears up for Saratoga. You think about, a John Sadler, who gears up for Del Mar. Ron Moquett, he gears up for Oaklawn. This is his year. This is his meet that he likes to really do well here. So I would imagine a horse like him he should be ready to fire. I think this horse is going to get a really good trip. He doesn't need naturally quick, so he's going to put himself up there, and there's a couple of horses doing his inside. I think the draw is really going to help him. I wouldn't like him as much if he was inside of other speed, but the fact he's outside, I think he can work out a really good trip here. I'm going to pick Sinner's Sin here at 8-1 on the morning line.
Wow. I tell you what, you everybody get a taste of Matt's approach, reaching for prices left and right.
Yeah.
You know who this is such a Davy Jacobson move. I mean, he turn up the trees on a week's rest, and of course, he turned Banishing into a multiple stake winner doing that over the last 18 months, for sure. Now, this is building these tickets, whether it's 5. That's the increment. We talked about this. The higher increment is a tool to combat the CAW money, because they are kind of steer clear. So take your swings. I've format set and I'll put it up at the website later. And then I didn't look at all 3 races yet, but on Sunday the Poinsettia is the last of this weekdays.
The Poinsettia drew a half dozen runners with some pretty decent quality there. And even though Benedetta, she's got some back class, I would think Hilarita would be the one to beat there. Speaking of the boy, I mean, this mare is, I know she's lightly rose up every time. She is just a gamer. And she's going to be pretty tough to beat in there, I would think. She's never finished worse than second in 8 starts. 6 of those resulted in wins. And she's looking to become a stakes winner here. And I think this is the right field. Who knows? Maybe if they can keep her going good, she'll.
Matt Dinnerman, everybody, and 2 of the Oaklawn Holiday Meet. Matt, Merry Christmas. We're going to be gone next. So we'll pick it up after the first. Off to a good start race, and that'll continue all the way into May. Happy, healthy New Year.
Happy New Year to all the viewers and you, Steve. Happy holidays, and hopefully everybody can get lucky during the holiday season. And we'll be back at it in a couple couple weeks on your show, Steve. Thanks for having me on.
Matt Dinnerman, everybody, and the second weekend of action at Oaklawn later today, and I'll have that pick 3. Nick Tamero for a quick hit before Craig Dato, Mike was out. We've had it's been a busy morning break, and of course, Nick. The first order of business. It's got to be nice, the press release with your name and with your new responsibilities and everything that comes with it. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, my friend. Getting paid to work at the racetrack full time now, tough to beat.
For sure. And, I thought it was interesting because, it included the player development. Explain to people who, clearly have no comprehension that actually, that this is a that this is a role that can be very successful. If a racetrack puts a person out there to try to cultivate business, explain what you hope to achieve.
Yeah, I mean, you have to take into consideration the environment that we're in down here right now, which obviously one of the things that my boss Brian Pettigrew, who was previously with the Breeders' Cup and the NTRA, and what we're focusing on is obviously on-track business because we don't have the luxury of simulcasting our signal right now. We're hopeful that is something that's needed in 2026. But in the meantime, we get a pretty solid crowd. Obviously, this is a major metro area, and there's a million barriers to entry for people that are new to the sport. And so what do they do when they get a program in their hand? Do they need to have something explained to them? What kind of literature can we make available to them? How much can we put online and use QR codes around the facility to get younger people with their phones to be able to watch a 30-second video on how to use the machine or how to make a wager, or what can we simplify simply putting pre-built the global tote systems so that they can go and punch them and go ahead and get involved at that point. So it's all about taking the on-track crowd that we have for simulcasting non-live racing days, and what can we get into their hands? And so one of the things we debuted today was a new betting guide for the major signals going. So today's has Gulfstream and Oaklawn in it. Tomorrow's will have Gulfstream, Fairgrounds, and Oaklawn. And it's kind of me walking them through some of the races with picks and suggested wagers and things like that. So it's, when you're sitting in a different state, you use an ADW, you see how are you going to develop players? Well, we're in an environment where we don't have ADW in this state. All of our wagering takes place, all of our legal wagering, of course, takes place here. And so we have a good customer base. We're a place that does probably about as much as any brick and mortar in the country in simulcast wagering on a Saturday. And we want to get those people some better opportunities to earn Penn Play Rewards points, to have some info in their hands in terms of helping them bet, and see if we can't kick that number up a little bit. So that's kind of the main goal, in addition to making sure that a lot of the internal people are fully invested in racing and understanding what it is and what our customers want and what makes them tick. And so it's a little bit of all of that, of course, in addition to the announcing duties, which I won't stop, and I'm going to be able to do that here. And then over at Retama, I'll do more broadcasting and some on-track stuff to help there as well, because they've got a 24-day quarter horse meet coming up in June. So it's a good mixture of responsibilities. It'll be a lot of fun.
Nick, just a couple days, I know, with New York off, you got a little bit of a freshen. You can't stay active, so I know you looked at some things.
Yeah, for sure. 12th race tomorrow at Fairgrounds. I like the 5 market runner. Tom Ames, second-time starter. Got into some early trouble. Didn't get out of the gate that great. Steadied going to the first turn. This is a really deep and competitive maiden race. So I thought he was interesting. Tom's got amazing numbers. So these horses can race with Lasix in Louisiana as 2-year-olds. First-time Lasix with non-first-time starters at Fairgrounds over the last 5 years. He's 34% with a 323 ROI. This horse is one of an improved second out, and despite the damn buy-sell hold being very sprinty, it was obvious, at least to Tom from the start, this horse wants to going off favorite in there. He looks as good as anybody in a pretty wide open event. But yeah, I like the 12th. I like Chip Honcho and the Gunners, Chip Honcho and Liberty National. If the Buckeye bred beats me, then I'll go ahead and take that, because this feels like a big jump in class. But I thought I could probably get through with those two.
Everybody's against the Ohio bred. I it's kind of funny. I haven't had anybody.
You've got two
embrace.
fast autograph numbers, as I'm sure you're.
That's for
you're
sure.
probably set.
Exactly. All right. Anything else?
No, I think that'll do it.
All right. Well, listen. Congratulations again. Best of luck. Merry Christmas. I know it'll be there'll be 7 fish involved and all the classics over the next fortnight.
Absolutely. Have a great holiday season yourselves, everybody out there, and we'll talk to you soon.
Nick Tamaro and Tam 1215 Sam Houston Race Parks. Nick Tamaro, Twin Spires. Craig Dato. I told Craig that I needed him early today, and then here he is in his normal spot. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Terrific, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you,
Craig. We went to the Jordan Love well once too often.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna be a spoiler, but we may go there again.
I love that. All right.
Let's talk games first. One of the best games on the slate, Green Bay at Chicago.
Yes.
Very important game for both teams. Yikes, Bay got really hurt since last week. Their 6 score is only 74.7. That dropped 7.5 since week 15. That's the biggest 1-week delta drop on the board. They're running back Jacobs is practicing. We expect him to play, but he's not 100%. Their star wide receiver, Christian Watson, is out. Their tight end, Tucker Kraft, was already out. Now their center is out. Now the right tackle is out. On the defensive side, they have 2 defensive linemen out, and the strong safety is out. Poor Green Bay is beat up. Meanwhile, Chicago is fairly healthy. They're an 84.2 6 score, meaning that the 6 score differential here is 9.5. Chicago is 9.5 on our score. The 6 score number healthier than Green Bay, and that is a big, big number. So Chicago right now is a 1.5 favorite. That just moved towards Chicago. It was actually a pick 'em yesterday, but now it's a 1.5. We still like Chicago, and we're going to give the 1.5.
Nice. All right.
So now let's stick with that game and go back at Jordan Love here a little bit. You heard my reasoning here. I love when quarterbacks have O-line. You know me, I like to go under. I'm a big unders guy. I love when quarterbacks have a bad O-line, have pass catchers out, and are up against a tough defense. And this just fits the bill. Nothing against Jordan Love. I'm sure he's a nice guy. But, again, Christian Watson is out. Center is out. Right tackle is out. And the Chicago defense is even healthier than their offense. They're an 87.3. This checks all the boxes. You got to go under on Jordan Love. Last I saw, it was 227.5. That was yesterday. I don't know where it is today, but I'm going under no matter what.
Very good. Do we know?
And while I'm in the mood of being a Grinch and going under on people, let's just keep it going. Right to quarterback from Tennessee, Cam Ward. His O-line is a mess, 72.7. His pass catchers are worse, 66.8. And that Kansas City team, which may be in disarray, still has a very good, very healthy defense at 85.5. So we got to go under again on quarterback Cam Ward from Tennessee. I believe his number is right about 180. We're going to go under on that.
We cashed on Ward, right?
Hey, I know I wasn't the greatest on your show. I think Carolina got beat by New Orleans. But last week, our sick picks were 13-2. We had one of our best weeks
Oh my
ever.
gosh!
So we got to keep that rolling. We got to keep. So anybody who took us up, any of your listeners took us up on the special discount last week.
Well, listen, everybody is so pleased between your action, Rich Ang's, and Dave Hill. I've gotten more feedback this season, and of course we're doing we're doing more coverage of football than in years past. People have done really well.
Right.
More than it's more than just. I mean, there's plenty of people that just take picks and fold it into their play, but they've also, I think, enjoyed the rationale and the explanation, and are looking at games utilizing the approach that you and Dr. Chow have cultivated. It's not just this team is going well and this team is not going. It's way more cerebral than esoteric.
I agree. Dr. Chow and I learned our guts mean absolutely nothing. As a matter of fact, our guts are usually wrong. So we just go by the injury numbers, and we trust the process, as we tell ourselves every week. When we come up with teams that we don't think are very good, but yet we have to play them based on injuries, just trust the process.
Well, SICScore.com and SIC Score on Twitter. Don't forget the halftime update show on YouTube and streaming. By
the way, I want to brag about that one. Well, I can too.
Yeah.
122 on the halftime show. That's
with
yeah, we do a lot of over-unders in second half and such, but we're reacting to what the injuries that we've seen in the first half and guys we knew coming in with injuries, see how they hang, and then we, based on what we see in the first half, we give out second half plays. And yeah, we're getting we're getting a lot of viewers on that, so that's new. That's fun to do. Hey, I got a special for your listeners again, for first-time players who haven't taken advantage yet. We're going to roll it back. This has been doing really well for us. We're going to give that 80% off. It's usually $50 for all of our picks, and that includes not only NFL, but also includes college, not only football, but basketball now. Everything's in there. We're going to give it to you. It's usually $50 a week. Again, for this 80% discount, $10. That's all you got to pay for 1 week. Give us a try. We're confident you're going to like it and stay with us. And that's been the case. We've had a really good year for sales this year, probably because we've had a good year. So we want to extend that offer again. Just put BYK as the promo code, BYK, when you check out, and we'll give you that 80% discount.
Nice. Thank you for that, Craig. And the
What's
next
your
2 weeks.
Next week?
I'm off next week and for the holiday, and we'll be back the week of the 5th.
All right, great. Well, if you'd like to, if you want to touch base with me and have you give out some picks on X or whatever to your listeners, I'm happy to do it.
We'll do it. And plus, I put them on the website too, on our website. So
great. And I got a horse running in the La Brea on opening day in Santa Anita. I'm very excited about.
The Phillies good. The Phillies going to contest.
Yeah. So there she was. Yeah, we're going to go for it.
Oh, good for you. But it's coming up. I tell you what, I was at Santa Anita Monday and Tuesday, and we saw George Weaver's filly, the New York bred 5G out there. Baffert, Baffert's probably going to run 1 or 2, and it feels like it's open. It feels like it's the La Brea. They're both going to be terrific. The Malibu's always great too.
Great, looking forward to it. All right, well, thanks for having me, and I'll definitely be there for opening day at Santa Anita, and then I'll talk with you the following week.
Excellent. I appreciate it. Craig Dato, everybody, Sports Injury Central. We've got about 23 minutes to close out Twin Spires weekend preview. Mike Welch joins us now from Gulfstream. Mike, good morning.
Morning, Steve. I'm not going to be able to do the whole 23 because I'm kind of...
No. I got Rich Eng.
Trying to get Sunday's analysis and story in, so
I got
on
you.
Deadline if I can.
A real quick note, because I only mentioned it. I did not get into detail. Layabout came through in that Derby last week, and Destino Doro. I mean, both of them were more or less the talking horses going into the Tropical Park races.
We're good in both cases and worked out well. Yeah.
All right, and I understand. I know that Patrick, I guess, has got some lofty ideas for Destino. I'll try to
For layabout, you mean?
layabout. Excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they're gonna take a swing. That's for sure. At some of the bigger races, if you know the horse can continue moving forward, which figures to do the way the horse has been progressing and ran the other day.
All right. Well, let's look at the stake sequence tomorrow and get a feel. I talked yesterday with Jeff Franklin. We looked at the Fort Lauderdale. I want to start there because I thought it was terrific.
Yeah, it's definitely the most intriguing betting, I think, proposal on not the whole card because there's really good maiden special weight races on the turf, but it's of all the stakes. I mean, it's definitely a head scratcher. You can make a case for a lot of horses in here. Major Dude won the race last year. Won 7 races without a win after that before bouncing back, winning the Artie Schiller over a surface that trainer Todd Pletcher didn't think he really enjoyed that day or really took to. So that's a good sign. He freshened him up, and he's going to bring it to try to defend his title. Cugino coming in with 3 wins and 4 starts on the year. The only loss in the 4-star Dave. No disgrace there. Stepping up in the Grade 1 company, and Shug said, admitted with him. But he won his last race at a mile and 3/8 in game fashion in the Red Smith, and Shug doesn't think that's his best distance either. He likes the fact that he's going to be turning back to a mile and 1/8. So they're the two that maybe the most logicals, but there's certainly plenty of other options. Wolfie's Dynaghost, who is the 2-to-1 morning line favorite. They're still going strong, approaching his 8th birthday. Has had a great year after missing almost all of 2024. I'm not sure why the change in trainers, and Thomas has done a tremendous job with the horse all through these years, but he wound up with Brian Lynch, and nobody's off to a better start here than Brian. And, he comes off a wire-to-wire win in the River City and looks like he's going to get loose in here too. So the 2-to-1 morning line might accurate there as the pace players are going to give this horse a big edge, and same with the figure players off that 99 buyer.
Mike, there's a couple horses that they've got performances that would fit, including Patrick with Beach Gold. Fausto Gutierrez offers Quattrocento. In fact, both of those two. Now that I'm comparing, both of them have their efforts at Kentucky Downs pretty well here. And then there's a kind of an oddball to me, this Naptown, Jose Magana, coming off a career best, and any further improvement makes Naptown a player.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can make an argument for just about any horse in here, and I wouldn't knock it. I mean, I kind of like chasing the crown a little bit. I mean, This horse, got beat less than 2 lengths in the Pegasus last year, ran 100 buyer, took off 9 months and come back on another 100 buyer, and then I think he probably bounced in the River City off those, off that the second 100 buyer off the long layoff. So he's training terrific, and Mike Maker, you always have to consider him a threat in these kind of races, and even Vin Propos for Sappy Joseph. The horse is trained extremely well. Worked a couple of times. We're going to be talking about long shortly, and this horse has plenty of bases on his form too that make him tough at his best in here.
Fun race to end the sequence. 10th, you mentioned Skippy, and here he is in the Harlan's, on his best, obvious consideration. And after that, I don't know.
He's made money in his career than the rest of the field combined and then some. But after that performance in the Charlestown Classic and now coming in off the layoff, he has to concede a lot of weight to all of these horses too, which Saffy's a little nervous about. He claims he's training as good as ever, and our workout reports are pretty good. But you just have to question, where he's at now at this stage in his career. Is he just on the downside? And, worth playing against. If you throw him out and try to beat him, it's not easy to find anyone to really love in here. I thought his stablemate, Hold My Bourbon, was interesting. Through the rail, gets IRAD, has been working well. The rail is an advantage in a mile and a 16th in here. I would really, really like him if Con Companion wasn't in here, but they could do a little damage on each other, buying that early lead. But I thought he was intriguing. I'm not sure what to do with Poster. I mean, his marquee win is the Remsen as a 3-year-old. That was a long time ago. He did bounce back last time at Churchill Downs with his career best effort from a buyer standpoint, but that was on the grass. It was his first time against older horses, and he passed the test pretty well. So I don't know where he stands. The morning line has him 2-1, has Skippy 3-1. I'm not sure that's not going to be reversed at post time. But again, I don't know if you want to take a short price on Skippy, considering how where he's at coming into this race off the. I guess you can call it a clunker at Charlestown. He's looking to earn his fourth straight start in the Pegasus if he can run well here, and we'll just have to see how it plays out.
The Sewanee River, talked a little bit ago with Marcus. It's one of his game plan races, and the mile on the grass for the fillies and mares. What you doing here? I don't have your picks in front of me.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is another race. I wouldn't argue with anybody making a case for anyone in here. I picked Serona. I said it's a tepid call in a wide open race. She's turning back in distance off of the way she went a mile and 3/8, and probably not her best game. If you look at her form in Europe, she was strictly a miler there, and now she's going back to a miler. A race before that at Laurel was good at a mile time in this country. Got beat a nose that day to no-show Sammy Joe, who came back off that race and ran a good second in the Long Island. So I'm just looking for maybe a little bit of a price horse in as about as wide open a race as you could get. Prevel de Oro also. I think is very live in here, buyer-wise, coming off the best 2 races of her career. Switches to Jose D'Angelo, who's having another just outstanding meet. Seems to be working well. Interesting, the jockey choice in here. That I was surprised to see him reach out where he did, with Johnny V having ridden this horse in her previous 2 starts, but. Again, this race is probably going to come down to who gets the best trip among the probably 6 or 7 logical contenders.
That's the Sewanee, and we start out with the Sugar Swirl. We'll come back to a maiden race or 2 as well, but the Sugar Swirl goes as the 6th, just a sack, and we've got a streaking Miss Lake to deal with in here. But does she have to win?
I didn't think so. I mean, I think on paper numbers, she's faster than these if she ran her best. But her best game is being loose on the lead, and unless Ms. Bouchero doesn't break or Irad has other ideas, switching up strategy to avoid a conflict with Mystic Lake, those 2 seem destined to set a pretty lively pace and could set things up for Nick Style, who reeled off, actually has done almost nothing but win during her career. She won 7 of her first 8 starts. She ran off 4 in a row. She won the Hurricane Birdie here last year, stepped away for a long while off that race, came back in the Pumpkin Pie, ran well off the layoff against a pretty salty bunch. The race was won by Way the Risks, who came back and ran a 109 buyer, winning at Aqueduct. Was it last weekend or the weekend before? I mean, this horse should sit the Garden Trip. She's 3 for 3 over the track, 2 for 2 at the distance. So I took Nick Style to upset Mystic Lake. It'll be interesting to see how the public bets this, which one will go post with the favorite. I'm sure there's not going to be a lot to choose between them when the final core dollars are in, and they obviously make the choice and who's going to be the favorite at the end.
How about the Janus too? The turf sprint. We've got We got Coppola coming back. Hasn't been seen since just getting nailed by that Bear River. I was there for that. Kentucky Downs. Actually, not. That was actually the Ellis preview. He wasn't able to run in the Kentucky Downs. That was the preview race, but certainly capable. And he has run winters. He's run very well at Gulfstream.
Yeah, I mean, he won the two stakes here last year. Got loose on the lead both times. He got sent out to the West Coast to run in a Breeders' Cup prep. It was the race that Reef Runner appeared to win, and then got disqualified. The green fish or
green flash.
What's it called?
The green
flash.
flash.
Green fish. Green
One
flash.
fish, two fish, green fish, blue
Yeah.
fish.
I mean, Reef Runner was first across the wire that day, qualified in a little bit of a controversial decision. But Coppola was supposed to run in that race too. Came up a little bit off the morning of the race, so they had a pass, brought her back home, started over with her, and here he comes. He's only had 2 works since that race behind Bear Den. Did drift a little bit the end of the work the other day here. I'm not sure if that was anything more than Tammy trying to slow him down and not have him do too much, but he's going to get entertained early on the front end, it looks like, in here by a couple of others. So I thought maybe he's a bit vulnerable as the 9-5 favorite. Reef Runner obviously is going to get played. I think in the end he'll wind up the favorite off that Grade 2 win in the Eddie D at Santa Anita and a good effort in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. I mean, he was no match for Coppola here last year in the Janus, or not no match, but was beaten by him in both those races here last year. But he's obviously a much better horse. For a price, though, I took a shot with When I Got to Heaven. Class-wise, most of the damage he's done has been in restricted company, but and he ran in this race and was up the track last year, but did not get a great trip. He looks like he's coming into the race better form, and I love what I've seen him in the morning here. I think he's going to get a nice stalking trip. He's going to be 10-1. David Egan has been riding well. Lots to like about him, especially the price. So I took a stab there with When I Get to Heaven.
All right. Mike, finally, is there a maiden that you're excited about tomorrow?
I have to look these over again. I did the race. These races, too, are just so challenging. You get all these first-time starters. It's hard to get a line on them. I actually picked Horsing Around in the first of the races for Fernando Abreu. I like the way he's been working over the Tapeta track here. Hopefully that'll translate to turf. He's got speed, and he reached out for Flavian Pratt. I take that as a pretty good sign.
Mike Welch, everybody. And don't forget, you got the Clocker Report, and you don't want to attack these big cards, particularly these big Saturdays, big weekends without it. Mike.
And don't forget too, we have Tappan Street on tap today.
Oh, that's right.
Looking forward to seeing him make his much anticipated comeback, and if everything goes well, that's right. He's going to be headed to the Pegasus. He will, unless there's a late movement that somehow brings sovereignty in, which I don't think that's going to happen. If Tappan Street runs well today, I think he's going to wind up being the favorite in the Pegasus.
We'll watch for that this afternoon. And Mike, off the next couple of weeks. We'll talk after the first of the year. Happy, healthy.
Okay, same to you. We'll be here.
Mike Welch, everybody, and the Clocker Report. Every card. There's a horse that ends up jumping off the page and makes it well worthwhile, especially on the big cards, like tomorrow. And this is really the first big Saturday with the graded stakes and the undercards and the maidens. The maidens are really the place where you get the insights. The one, of course, the one little wrinkle is Payson Park, where it private, and so it's like San Luis Rey in California. You just don't get as much information on those horses. Rich Ang ready to close out the morning, the last Twin Spires weekend preview of the calendar year for us. And Rich, tremendous job last week. You sweep the college games, and then Sunday, and then into Monday night. 4-0. Well done.
Hey, thank you very much, Steve. You've got a murderer's row there with Craig Dato and David Hill and and myself. But I try to keep up with those guys basically.
No, you're killing it. You were, and your rationale. It's funny. You took the Niners and you laid the 12 points with Tennessee, and that got a little dicey. But Army, that was an exciting game. I actually saw quite a bit of the late stages of that Army-Navy game. You were dead on with Washington burying Boise State, the Niners and the Steelers. 4-0. Well done.
Yeah, the Steelers, angle with, they're playing Miami, and we talked about that angle with after playing the New York Jets this year. So for some reason now the record is 1-12 for the teams that play the New York Jets the next week and against the spread record. So the team this week is the Jacksonville Jaguars. They blew out the Jets last week, and now they're playing Denver. For anybody who wants to keep following that trend.
Interesting. That's right. That's right. We forgot about that. I forgot about that. Last night, by the way, that was as crazy a stat. And my man Johnny D is good with it. But did you see? And they put it up again this morning. The Rams. The Rams were 323-1 when leading by 15 points or more in the fourth quarter. Seattle was 0-172, trailing by 15 or more in the fourth quarter.
I did. They put that up on the TV, so that might have been the ultimate jinx, right? It's almost like when you jinx a field goal or a kicker. But what an odd ending. It was 30-14 at the time they put it up. And then the punt return for a touchdown, and then the two-point conversions, the lateral that Charbonnet just happened to pick up the loose ball in the end zone, and with 2 points for Seattle. So
craziest thing I've ever, right? Craziest thing anybody's ever seen. It was amazing.
And if anybody followed me, I know I had one of the ATR listeners actually contacted me on Twitter and asked me if I had a pick for me. And I did give out the Rams +2 last night, so that was a game that snuck in under the border, but that was a winner.
Amazing. And Dave middled it too. He had the early line with Seattle, and then he came back and used LA as part of a teaser, and so he middled the game perfectly.
Fantastic. I saw the math on that, and you talk about a tight middle, but the Rams opened up as the favorite, and they ended up as the underdog. And what a great job to sneak in the middle there. Fantastic.
All right, let's start with some. We got about 3 minutes. Let's get a little bit of everything.
Yeah, let's go with the Chris Berman. The 3 minutes. We'll go 2-2-2 horse college pro. First horse will be race 9 at Oaklawn Park. It is the Silks Overnight Stakes. I like the number 4 horse, UW. John Ortiz is one of my sneaky favorite trainers to bet. I know he doesn't have a huge win percentage, but usually he has pretty good value. Joel Rosario picks up this mount for UW in the 9th at the Oaklawn Park. And the other horse I'll give out is early at the fairgrounds. I know they have an early post time for that. Race 2 is 5.5 furlongs. Turf only. Haven't seen the weather forecast, but the ultimate closer at the fairgrounds now is Jose Ortiz since he moved his tack there. He picks up the mount on the 5, the Babe Slayer. This horse has been close but no cigar, but I see Steve Asmussen gives the amount to Jose Ortiz. 2-1's a short price, but should be a single for me in the early pick 5.
Nice. Fairground second, and the stake at Oaklawn today, getting us started with Rich's horse action Saturday.
Let's go for college football. 2 games. One of them's tonight. It's the first of the college football playoff games. It's Alabama against Oklahoma. And here in the Vegas market, there's been 4 different point spreads I checked last night. Oklahoma favored by either pick, -1, -1.5, -2. So if you like Alabama, you want to bet the +2. But I'm going to go with the Oklahoma Sooners. They played earlier this year. Oklahoma won at Tuscaloosa. But the Oklahoma defense, I think, is the best unit on the field. Let's go with Oklahoma. And I did bet the pick. Yep. And as far as the second pick, 93-294, it's Tulane at Ole Miss. Obviously, there's a lot of there's a lot of chaos over this game with the fact that Lane Kiffin has already left for the LSU job. But I think if there's any team out of the 12 in the bowl championship series that should have a huge chip on their shoulder, it's Ole Miss. I mean, there were a lot of people thinking that leaving that maybe they shouldn't even make the playoffs. But I think they already played once this year. Ole Miss won by 35, and I think they have reason enough to try to blow out Tulane again. Let's go Ole Miss. They're -17. It's a big number, but I think they're a superior football team.
How about that? All right. And Sunday, Monday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah. Okay, that's this week. And we'll end up with 2 pro games. One of them is tomorrow, Saturday. It's the Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears. They played a couple of weeks ago. Packers won a close one by 7. And the Bears, the game actually opened up Packers -1.5. It's now switched to Bears -2. I think the biggest reason is the injury to Micah Parsons. He's out for the year. And there was another defender that the Packers lost last week. Must win for the Chicago Bears. Let's go with the Bears -2. And as far as another pro game, Monday Night Football. Let's end December 22nd with a winner. San Francisco 49ers against Phillip Rivers and the Colts. He looked all of 44 last week, and I can't imagine he's going to improve much. He's not going to improve like fine wine. I like the 49ers -5.5.
Very good. There it is. Rich Eng, San Francisco, Chicago, Mississippi, and Oklahoma. And the 2 plays today. Rich, Merry Christmas. Happy, healthy. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks, but I'll get your plays next week and last week of the season.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you and to all the listeners, and I'll talk to you later.
Rich Eng for Pro Pick, and of course, Race Day Las Vegas. Rich's Santa Anita analysis daily starting next Friday. Rich Eng and Mike Welsh, Craig Dato, Sports Injury Central, Matt Dinnerman, Scully, Marcus Hirsch, Callie, Nick Tamero, and P.C. McKenna, Pat McKenna. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the weekend. I'll have the Oakland plays up shortly, and we will be back home to close out the calendar year on Monday. Which good luck this weekend.
On Sirius XM Radio.
Who you betting on? How about an outfit specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. Thundering hooves, fist pump, and boosting your bankroll with Rope weekly promotion. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night. Nationwide. Get the action to thrill horse racing. $200 deposit match with promo. Visit NairaBets.com for details.
Horses power Virginia's economy, creating over 38,000 good, fulfilling jobs every year. Think about the farmers, the farriers, the feeders, the athletes, trainers,